Oh, that was quick. Hello, YouTubers. How are you doing? Should we get ourselves live across the board? How are we doing tonight? Sadly, the weather is not playing ball, so we are doing an alien radio signal hunt, and it has been a couple of days, which is a rare gap for us, isn't it? Normally, we are on every night, but family sometimes has to happen there. So how are we doing there? Gribbage is already in there. You've been eagerly awaiting. Well, I've been eagerly waiting as well to get back to see you guys there. Dan as well, how are you doing? So yeah, tonight, guys, we are doing a live alien radio signal hunt tonight. We are searching what is called the hydrogen line, and that is the channel on the radio dial where scientists theorize that if ET is out there, this is where they'd leave the message. Hello, is anybody else out there? Or maybe something a little bit more ominous, like help, or watch out, don't invent AI. Some sort of important message we would expect to be found right on this channel here, this middle line down the screen. That is like your old-fashioned radio dial when you'd tune into different frequencies. We're really down the low end there, well past all of your FM stations and things like that, looking there for any anomalous signals that might come through. So as the Earth rotates there, Di, how are you doing? Thank you for the likes there and the shares, appreciate that. And Carl is in as well. How are you doing? Good to see you. How's your weekend been? How's your trip? It was long, but it was good, you know. Got to see family and whatnot there, but a 6-hour train journey is always leaves me a little bit worse for wear there. But yeah, so we're going to be doing this signal hunt tonight. As the Earth rotates, our dish will sweep across the night sky there, passing over various stars and their planets, hoping to detect a signal from ET if they are out there and they're sending one. So at the minute, we've got 4 close-ish by stars in range there. We've got Algrab, Kraz, Minkar, and Ginar. The closest one of those is only 87 light years, and that is Algrab there as well. I wonder how many planets are around orbiting that star. So not too far away in space terms, so we might get lucky. You know, it is a right place, right time. Not only have we got to be in the right position, you know, got our dish pointed to the right star where life actually is, but also when they are choosing to send it there. We're unlikely at these distances to be able to pick up their sort of TV signals or anything passive like that. It's got to be the sort of reaching out there into the unknown, hoping to hear messages from people. Shen, wait a minute, why is my chat not working there? Hold on, guys, hold on. My chat is playing up again over on the tubes. Let's have a look at what is going on there. Oh, piece of crap. It's created a second one. Why is it doing that one? Hold on, let me get in, tubers. Right. What's that one? Why is that created a second one? Ridiculous. Right, let's get rid of that one. Or figure out what's going on with that one later. Right, delete that one. Right, let's actually join the correct one. There we go. And how are we doing, tubers? There we go. Right, I can actually see the correct chat now. Why is it not on that one? So hopefully, hopefully everybody's going to come over to the right one there. Shanizun, how are you doing? How has your weekend been going? I'll get over to YouTube, TikTokers in a second. Right, where did we get to in the chat there? Scroll. Where it's Di, lots of shares there, Di. Thank you for that. It is the likes and shares, guys. It's how we reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves, and the more eyes and minds on the old phenomena, so the more we can all piece this puzzle together there. And I'd run there, found out more history with UFOs where I live, and asked my granny. See, this is a brilliant way, isn't it? There, it's crowdsourcing that, asking people, and you know, there have got to be so many sort of, you know, unheard stories, and that again has been the bit that I found most exciting about doing this, is hearing all of these stories that you just wouldn't hear. They wouldn't make the papers normally. Have you got any good ones there, Audron, from your grand? There were a pile of sightings behind my house, like my luck. Oh, exactly. It's always a little bit too soon. How you doing, Maya? Good to see you in. And they're floating discs. And right behind you, say, to live in a hotspot like that, to have that history, that is pretty cool. And maybe the activity is still going on. For whatever reason, drew them there back initially. The more, you know, maybe they're still going on there. And how you doing, Di? Good to see you there. And Lee, glad to see you in there. I'm glad you're all good there. And Olivia there. Hey, I'm so glad this is happening. I'm so glad to have you in. We've had a couple of days off, haven't we, guys? It doesn't happen often, although sadly, I've forgotten I'm in London Tuesday night, so that will be one that we can't do again. But we've got tonight, we've got tomorrow, and we have the rest of the week there as well. And Sharkbait, where are you joining us from there? Thank you for the follow. And can you explain this for the people like me who've never seen a good question there, Olivia? So what we're doing is we're listening out for those potential alien radio signals there that might be coming in from distant stars. So if you've seen the film Contact with Jodie Foster or the recent Apple TV series Pluribus, it's that sort of thing. We've got a dish pointing up to the night sky, and as the Earth rotates, it sweeps across the night sky and passing over various stars and their planets. Hopefully one of those is going to have life and sending us a signal. If it is, if we're lucky, we'll see it on the meters that you're seeing there tonight. But whilst we're waiting for the action to happen, we have a bit of chat about all the UFO stuff there. But essentially, this is just like, fancy radio stuff that you're kind of seeing there now. So if you are on the TikTok, you're seeing the vertical. You just basically see the middle of the screen. If I've got a button around here somewhere, no, it won't show it on that one. Where's my little... Is it on this one here? So when that one cycles through, it should show you what the full screen looks like, guys. So it's worth checking us out there over on the tubes, because you get to see lots more analysis of what's going on. But what you can see, everybody can see, those middle bits there, they are your radio meters. It doesn't seem to be cycling through to the correct bit. Oh, I'll have to figure why that one's playing up later. But essentially, yeah, so it's like your old-fashioned radio dial, where you tune in, you're finding the station. We're on one particular station here called the Hydrogen Line. It's was it 1.420 hertz, something like that. But that is the frequency where scientists think that if aliens are out there, this is where they're most likely to put that message, hello, is anybody else still out there? And it's where we've heard a number of anomalous signals in the past, like the WOW signal, but many other strange ones since then. So that is where we expect aliens to put the message. And it's a really interesting frequency because it's so useful for radio astronomy there for the scientists. In fact, nobody on Earth is allowed to transmit on this frequency. So again, if we do get a signal, it's unlikely to be Earth-based because, yeah, they purposely, by law, keep it for listening only. So yeah, we're listening out, hoping to get one of those messages. But if we do get lucky, it will only be on screen for between 30 to 90 seconds there. Because that is how quick, with the Earth moving, how quick that dish is going to sweep on over and off those target stars. So brilliant question there, Olivia. Where are you joining us from? There, in my opinion, Simon as well there, and Di and Leanne, and thank you guys for the gifts. Appreciate all those. So you go back into the stream there, helping us improve on what we do. And there, and Rondron there, where are you joining us from? Good to have you in. Thank you for the follow. And Universe there. Cool. Have you seen any transmission before? So we haven't ourselves. I don't think we've been doing it long enough, because this is a bit of a, again, it's right place, right time. What we normally do, if the skies are clear, we do a UFO, a UAP Skywatch there. So we're based in Crop Circle country here in Wiltshire in the UK, so just down the road from Stonehenge, but these skies are alive with activity. So when it's a clear sky, that's what we're doing, and this is what we do when it's cloudy. Then it's going to be a bit of a longer haul. We won't see, it's not like the Skywatches where we see strange stuff pretty much most times we get the camera out. But this is going to be a longer haul. But it is, because it's rarer, it is so much more exciting there. Again, radio is quite unambiguous. It tells you, the signal itself can tell you a lot about it there. So yeah, there are ways that we can filter out the Earth-based signals, organic, because nature is noisy in radio. It's a natural medium. It's not man-made technology. We utilize it for communication. We adapt it, but it is a natural property. The universe screams in radio. And that is what we're listening to actually at the minute. The little wiggly lines going across there. That is called the cosmic microwave background there. And if I shut up, that's what that sounds like. Scientists think that is the early remnants of the Big Bang, which is pretty cool. But yeah, nature is noisy in radio, so we have to filter that out there and lead you pass data on to other people. So we don't at the minute, mainly because the data that we get, what science really needs, there isn't actually a shortage of anomalous radio signals. People say, where's the evidence for aliens? There's actually a lot of anomalous signals that have been detected over the years. So mainstream science, they've got these anomalous signals. What they need to put it over the line and say 100% that this is definitely aliens is a second detection there. They need another dish from another location to point at the same where they think it's coming from and get that confirmation. And the issue they've got in getting that is that they don't basically check quick enough. Sometimes it can be 20 years before they check again. So no wonder they're not getting the second detection. So what we're doing tonight is, it's interesting. If we get the signal, we really need somebody else with another big dish to be able to ring up and go, hey, look, point your dish there. Can you get it too? Because if we get that, then it's very, very, very interesting. So good question there. M to the C is in there. And can laymen use this technology? 100%. And Hull is not too. I've heard good things about Hull. Up in Yorkshire as well. Very beautiful landscapes around there. Not so bad there, Olivia. I'm a big fan of York itself. And but yeah, yes, 100%. This is just radio technology. And like with anything you do, you can put more money in, you get bigger toys, and you know, you can get more sensitive there. I mean, if we had one of the really big dishes out there, we could hear more sensitive and fainter signals. That's kind of how it works. But we've got a reasonable size one, bigger than your car aerial there. And but yeah, the bigger the dish, the more sensitive essentially. But you can actually start quite easily. In fact, the company that makes all of this kit here, they're called Nuelec. So if you do want to try this at home, Nuelec, NOOELLEC, something like that. I normally have their little logo up there. So we did a competition with them where they were giving away some starter kits, and that was over in March, I think it was, to a few of our guys. So we might do one of them again, but it is actually quite accessible, and there's lots of other interesting things you can do in radio as well there. It's a brilliant question there, Olivia. Have you had an experience yourself there? And Rio, I missed you for 2 days, didn't know what to do. Rio, every night I'm out of routine. I was like, I needed my fix. I couldn't stream. I'm trying to think of how can I stream when I'm staying around families. We need to figure it out there. And there's Area 51. Area 51. Oh, Lives, Area 51. Hey, I want to check that one. Or is it Lives? My eyes are playing up tonight. But either way, hello. Thank you for the follow. I see where you're joining us from. I'm assuming over that way there. And Sean, we are back. We are definitely back there. Hey to Area 51. Oh, we've already completed a goal there. Sean, thank you for all the gifts up there as well. Loads there from Sean. Appreciate that. It all goes back into the stream, upgrading all the equipment, hopefully, you know, increasing our odds, statistical chance of getting a signal there. And Universe Canteen as well there. And Grease Monkey, thank you for the follows, guys. And Icarus there. And what's your best moment? So they're definitely the Skywatches. We have seen some very, very interesting things. So definitely make sure you're followed or subscribed, wherever you are, and then you'll be able to catch us you know, live whenever it's clear. And we are due a few clear skies this week, so you'll be able to catch us live for those, and we can see some of those strange things together there. Just put your experience into the Discord there. So after the live, I will 100% now, Drona. I've got so many messages to go through because I've been off for a couple of days, but I will 100% check that one out. So thank you for that one. Again, our community will love to read that one. And Gonnie's in there. I haven't been able to sleep for the past 2 nights. I made you a recording of this, guys, so you could just put that on. It's not quite the same without the rambling there. Jimmy as well, thank you for the follow. Lives, it is Lives, thank you. I remember that now. My eyes are terrible. Poor Denise over on the YouTubes. I was calling Dennis for ages the other night, so... Sorry again there, Denise. Let me quickly pop back over to the YouTube chat there because it's a bit shorter, and I'll catch up to see where we are with that. Dan is in there. Gribbage, oh, you made your way back. Sorry, we're having technical issues. When we schedule one on the tubes, it lasts 5 minutes and then stops itself, which is bloody frustrating. So I've got to figure out why that's happening. But I'm glad you guys have made it back over there. And you've had a crew with separation anxiety to deal with. Exactly. It is good to see you all back in there. And this man says, yeah, if you could, give us a like there. It's the likes and shares, guys, that helps us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves there. And the more eyes and minds on the old phenomena, the more we can all piece this puzzle together there. Do say hello, especially if you're new here. Say hello where you're watching from tonight. Ask any questions. There's no silly questions at all. I'm bouncing between technically 3 chats, so I've tried to read through and then bounce between them. But I will get to you there. And Paul is in the house. How are you doing there? Where are we? Oh, Paul, another gifted member. Thank you there, Paul. Who got that one? As Gaz, I got that one. So, guys, if you are one of the many lucky members now over there on the tubes, just like the Patreons, you can join in on our deep dives. I think we might move this Friday's one to Thursday, just because I think we're not going to have many good Skywatchy dates. So I think we might move it to Thursday, but hold tight on that one. But yeah, you'll be able to join in for those ones there. And is that... Fibra there, how are you doing there? If we are wanted to send a message to aliens there, how should we do it? So, very good question. There's a number of ways, and this goes in the sense as well of, we're doing what's called a radio SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, but through radio. But they might not use radio at all. Maybe they're so far advanced there that they communicate with each other through some sort of quantum property there, maybe light. I mean, there are ways that you can send messages. You could, technically, they've thought about this, that you could kind of put a giant structure in front of your star. So as it orbits, it blocks out certain light around the star. Therefore, just having a non-natural shape that people would be able to detect by looking at your star from all these miles away, that could be a message in of itself. There are so many interesting ways to do it there, but through radio, you just need a hell of a lot of energy. And this is the thing, these distances are absolutely vast here. Even the close-by stars that we've got in range tonight, if you guys are on the tubes, you can see our little sky map where our dish is pointing there tonight. So even if we go into the closest one there, which is 87 light years away, which is not too bad, it's on the same street in space terms, but that's a hell of a lot of energy needed to do that one there. So we need a big transmitter. We sent a message once as humans back in the early 1970s. We used our most powerful transmitter, which was the Arecibo radio telescope there, the one from the James Bond film, and it collapsed not last year, a couple of years ago, which is a bit of a shame. But it's also a space radar, so it had the power to not just listen, but also send those signals out. We sent a message but once, and a lot of people, including very big scientists like Professor Stephen Hawkins there, does think that maybe we shouldn't be sending the messages, we shouldn't be screaming that we're here, because we don't know who is out there. But I mean, I'm curious, and I think Earth has been saying, look, hey, I've got biological life for about 2 billion years, so people have probably noticed, if they're out there, they've already noticed that we are here. And loving the messages there, Maya there, and Raf is in the silent version. Wasn't the same without your nasty, boring voice there. Raf, I'll record you a personal one. I'll even throw in the tracker for good measure there, because I know how much you love it there. Where are we down there? And Tracy, how are you doing? Good to see you in there. And Jamesy, good to see you guys are back in tonight. I have missed you all there. Mr. Money is in the house as well. Sean, thank you for the other gifts, guys. Gifts, subs, members, super chats, all that jazz does go straight back into the stream. They're helping us improve on what we're doing here. They're more sensitive equipment and all that jazz, hopefully increasing our odds of a detection. But yeah, we do this pretty much every night. So unless I've got a family event or I'm in London for work, which will be Tuesday night. But other than that, we're on basically every night. I don't have a social life. It's just you guys. And yeah, we are either, if it's a cloudy sky, we're doing this, the alien radio signal hunt. If the sky is clear, we do this one. We do a UFO, a UAP Skywatch, and that's what the skies look like. They're absolutely stunning here in the country, and we're right in a UFO hotspot here, right in the heart of Crop Circle country, and just down the road from Stonehenge. If the moon's up, that's what that looks like. Absolutely stunning. See all the craters, the details, and talk about how weird some of those sightings have been on, off, and around the moon. So let me get through here as well. Hello, you're back. I know. And I feel absolutely great to be back as well. Oh, look, we've got a new t-shirt. Look, they're not technically available yet, but this was the test one. It kind of came out okay. So we'll let you know when they're there. I'm actually quite happy with those designs there. Where have we got to? Those ones in as well. Oh no, I did that one. And Jimmy's in as well. Thank you for the follow there as well. Can you see anything ever under the clouds? Brilliant question there, Universe. So technically, cloudy nights doesn't mean that we can't do a UFO watch. In fact, UFOs are technically the things that are within our atmosphere. So if they're up in space, their nickname is called fast walkers, which is a bit weird, but hey, Americans. Fast walkers is technically the term for when they're outside of the atmosphere. UFOs are within the atmosphere, the unidentified objects up there. The clouds technically don't prevent us from doing that as well, but clouds, normally a bit of rain. It's also not as good to look at there as well. But we did see one once. It was just kind of getting cloudy, and we saw this brilliant big object moving through the sky, and we noticed as it went through the clouds, it parted the clouds, which tells you immediately how high that is. Not satellites, not the International Space Station. That was very, very interesting at that one. So we have seen that one once there. And Icarus, but what's the best moment where you thought unreal? So the best one, there've been a couple of those sightings, and I think one of the really, really good ones was frustratingly when I was setting up the camera, but that's also why it was more interesting, because it hadn't fully got dark yet. I couldn't see the stars, couldn't see the satellites or anything by half. We saw this big bright object flying through the sky, and then I'm like, oh, it's the International Space Station. Then I realised it's far too light to see the International Space Station, especially how bright this bloody thing was and how fast it was. And then it went under the clouds. I'm like, and then loads of other people locally saw it when I posted it as well, so that was properly one of them there. But there's been a few interesting ones on the stream as well. Brad as well, how are you doing? Thank you for the gifts there. And how many political ones there, Grease Monkey? We don't normally use that term over here, but I've realised that's why TikTok was probably filtering our stream quite a lot last year, because we're using that word and it doesn't like it. We use it for the other one. This is brilliant. Thank you, Livs. I do appreciate that. And we come for the aliens and we hang out because we get to know each other. And listen, we're on pretty much most nights here. So it is good to see you all. We're a little community there. And again, it's this melting pot of everybody's experience, everybody's knowledge there as well. So we get to learn about what is going on and also how to search a little bit better as well. Eastern Maine there, Mim. I like that one. A bit of Maine myself, would love to visit one day there. Mr. Money is with us now. And Joseph there. Attention all Earthlings, you are being observed by me, the Master of the Universe. I think Joseph, Alan here, he takes affront to the Master of the Universe. That's Alan's crown there. Debster is in as well. And Mega and Astro Morka there as well. Thank you for the follow, guys. And Lives, have you ever seen anything when you aren't on here there, just in your day-to-day life? So, not for the alien stuff. That is part of the reason why we're doing the stream, is that I hadn't had anything UFO-y. I've had a kind of spooky things. I've always been curious, but, you know, I ended up by chance moving to this little country town here in the heart of Crop Circle country. And when I'm Googling, you know, what's the crime like in this town, I've never visited before in my life, before moving here, and I was like, oh, what's this? A UFO flap here? And it was a massive one in the 60s and 70s, and I go, how the hell did I never hear about this? But it went on for 10 years solid, and it's the only sighting that I know that was solid for that whole period. Like, people would travel all over the world to visit this little town in the middle of nowhere and have constant sightings. And one of my favourite stories, although this exact thing happened twice at least, was that a big famous American DJ from New York heard about it during the time, came all the way over here, which was was difficult, wasn't it, back in the 60s, wasn't as easy as nowadays. Came to this little town below, had an experience, went, right, I'm giving up my career, and stayed here and wrote books about the phenomena as well. But another DJ did exactly the same sort of thing, not from America this time, but it's a very strange place. And so I thought, right, perfect time, let's see if we can do some live observations, hence the Skywatches together, and, you know, get some more evidence together there. And Brad, guess who's back? Back again. Alan's back. Alan technically never left. He could have done the bloody stream, couldn't he, there? And it's a stream about 5 minutes delayed for anyone else. Oh, possibly there. TikTok's not normally too bad for it. The chat, though, is, because I'm reading through all of the chats, it does take me a while to get through them all. Jackie's in there, how you doing? And Lowe's in Tampa. I do like, oh, God, I'd love a bit of your weather there. Have you ever made use of, you know, being so close to the Kennedy Space Center there? Have you ever seen any launches? Lowe's is in as well. Thank you for the follow there. Pluto's in. Happy Sunday. It's always great to be. It's definitely great to be with you guys. Look, I love seeing family and doing all that sort of stuff as well, but I'm a sucker for routine, and I do miss hanging out with you guys. And Pluto, thank you for the gifts, guys. Gifts, members, Patreon, all that jazz does go back into the stream. And Jersey, no, Pluto there, it's good to see you. And Jersey, hi, do you think we'll have full disclosure soon? So I think we're on that journey. I don't know how soon. It depends how much disclosure there is, because it feels to me very much like they're laying the foundation, they're easing in people, because there's people out there that are just, not only have they not heard all the stuff that we've heard about, but they've not even got a structure of the world that can even allow for that. So they have to really start delicately, warm people up. It's the alien foreplay, right? You know, they've got to take them out for dinner first. It's all of that sort of stuff that needs to be done first. So I don't know how long that will take, and if something will get in the way, maybe changes of governments and all that stuff changes all the time. But it does feel like very much that we are on the journey, and we should be expecting some more to drop there. So if we see in these files there's a bit of an incremental change there, we're going to see probably a lot of the same stuff, but is there just one or two files released there that kind of just up it a little bit? That would be very interesting to see there. And it's a good question there, Universe, a good question. And 6 there. Joe Club, we all see this. If you think it's real, you're being wrong. So what do you mean, if you think it's real? Because science thinks aliens are real. Like, mainstream scientific opinion is aliens are most likely to exist there. The only reason science was always on the cusp of it was that they didn't know there were other planets around other stars. But since, the mid-90s, we've started to detect those planets around other stars. So it's just a numbers game. Alien life is real. Now, does it mean they're visiting us? No. But there is some evidence, again, that does point that way. So there we go. And Lou's there. We see UFOs a lot, actually, in Florida as well. So that is pretty cool. If you experienced yourself, I'd love to hear about those ones there. And Pluto, have you ever been up Clay Hill? So Clay Hill is right on our doorstep, and that is one of the main ones there. And every now and again, we do take the Skywatch kit on the road, and we go up to the local hill forts there. We don't do Clay Hill so much, mainly because it's such a difficult one to get up there. So it is right on our doorstep. It is very much on our list there, but we haven't actually managed to do a Skywatch from there yet. We do one of the neighbouring hill forts, because this town is weird. It's right bang in the middle of about 3 or 4 of those Iron Age hill forts. They surround the town. It's a very weird place. Again, all of them got lots of sightings around this area there. We went to the spring equinox of this year at 6 a.m. in the morning there, and then glowing orbs appeared above the trees at Stonehenge. Now, Stonehenge has a history of this sort of stuff, and I think it was literally last night, I was having a bit of a sleepy daydream, and I was thinking, God, wouldn't that be the perfect time to have the experience there? Would be at one of those celebrations there to have the sightings. That is actually really interesting that you've just mentioned having that experience. I've heard about other sightings, but not on the equinox. That is brilliant, Liv. It's on my list to do. Apparently, as a resident, we get in for free. But I don't like crowds, but I really do want to do it. Gone, any updates on the paranormal investigation? So yes, that's what I was thinking about today, actually, quite heavily. There's still a few little blocks which I can't quite figure out, but I figured out the other bit. So once we do eventually get to do it, it's going to be the best one you've ever seen ever, other than having me in it. But yeah, I've still got to get around a couple of little basic things that I need to put together. But I'm thinking I've got some good ideas. I've got some good ideas gone. I spent 6 hours on the train. I'm like, no, I'm going into the spooky stuff now, putting the aliens aside, and at some point we will put in the effort, and it's going to be a good one there. And username is this. Hello, great to see you. Slightly late there. I have a completed your website. Well, 100%. You got to, you've sent it to me already. There, put it in the probably just in the general chat might be a good one there. But this is put a really cool website together, basically for astrophotography, isn't it? Where you upload. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's along the lines of uploading your work there, and you can license it out to people there. So it could be a great way of monetizing your guys at work there. Now, a few of you are very much interested in your astrophotography there. So if you put the link in the Discord there in the general, hopefully everybody, if they are interested, can catch it there. And great minds think alike. Gone. It's funny that we're having the ideas at the same time there. And Thomas, are you sure this is your voice there? And it's a way to so there. This is my voice, Thomas, but there is a little bit out of sync there. And the reason that we do that, Thomas, is it's not technically intentional, but it's a bug that I haven't figured out yet. But because I am fancy and I want to do this and press my buttons and show you like the Skywatch, there's an ever so slight delay where the video goes in there. I haven't managed to slow down the audio to match it yet. So anyway, you don't need to be looking at my face. You want to be looking at the signal. Anyway, let me bounce back over to the tubes. Let me see where you guys got over to there. And Harko, how are you doing there? No staring at the ceiling today. Good catch. Oh, we've got a Sophie. Hello, Sophie. You still got no ears? You're going to say something? Yeah? Say hello. Sophie's a chinchilla. Yes, you're very cute. And now I'm going to be all itchy, aren't I?
Worth it.
It's definitely worth it. You're very soft. Yeah,
She's very upset that I got her.
I can tell she's not jumping around. Don't be fooled, guys. She hates being picked up. She's just unhappy about being upstairs. There we go. The hair is so fine. Oh, it gets everywhere. I'm going to be spitting and sniffing now. Oh. Where are we in there? Where's that? And Brian, how are you doing there? Radio waves weaken via the inverse squared law, so it would take a sensitive machine to see us. So this is a very, very good point there, Brian. There, and it's that dissipation, how faint that those waves go, and it's the easy way to think of it. It's kind of like shouting to your friend on the other side of a field. The further away they are, the quieter your voice is going to be by the time it reaches them. So you have to shout louder. So it's more energy into that to get it to reach that far. Now, if there's a busy road in between you two, you've got to shout louder to get over that road, haven't you, there as well? Or, your voice is just going to blend into the background of that. It's very similar to this, and it's a very good point that chinchilla hair everywhere. It's a very good point because signals would be, especially things like our television signal. We see this as a trope in movies a hell of a lot, that they're going to pick up as a Hitler's speech at the Olympics or something like that. And although technically true, that radiates out from the Earth there. Very quickly, it becomes so faint that they would need a dish the size of a planet to even have a chance of detecting it. And the same is kind of true for us here. We've got a very large dish here, but it is not. It's the Allenstone. Thank you. That's a good shape for him. But it's not that big there. So we can detect signals, but the bigger they are, the fainter those signals that you can detect there, or the more energy that they put into them. The other end gives you another chance of hearing it there. But yeah, I mean, we're screaming in radio, but we're actually getting quieter now as a species. We're, putting most of our communications through fiber optics now, less radio leakage and all of that sort of stuff. Our most powerful transmissions that we actually send out there are mostly our radar signals, which is kind of interesting when you think about all of that weird orb activity that we've been having lately. It's all focused around airports, which is the big candidate there for a radar source signal. So we're listening out tonight for a very particular type of signal, which is a species out there, a civilization purposely putting in a lot of energy there to send a message to an unknown recipient there, or recipients there. So the hello is anybody else out there, or maybe The help us! Our star is going to go supernova and we can't get off our planet. Or maybe don't make the mistakes that we've done. You know, don't use nuclear weapons or AI, whatever the warning may be. That is actually, they do think, when a civilization is going to be most keen to invest those resources, the energy requirements to send this sort of signal. But that's what we're listening for today. Those high-powered transmissions on the hydrogen line, this frequency, this channel on the dial there, where things like the wow signal was heard there before. So Brian, you are very, very right. But we are also, aren't we? We are screaming biological life in biological terms. So we're starting to do this now with these distant distance exoplanets. We're able to just about analyze their atmospheres for the light from their star passing just through the edge of their atmosphere there, and we can analyze that and go, right, it looks like there's these gases, and as far as we know, these gases are only made by life, so maybe there's life on that planet. Now, Earth has been screaming that for 2 billion years. So if a civilization out there, any time in the last 2 billion years, has had the technology we've got now, they would know that there's life here on Earth. And later on, techno-signatures there as well, the gases, the CFCs that we put in our atmosphere, they'll be able to detect those and go, right, it's in industry, it's not just life, there is a, you know, it's a civilization there as well. How you doing, Tracy, as well? Good to see you. Right, where we get to oh god, I'm right up the chat here. Let's have a look. There we go, that's where we got to. A nice weekend at Chill Now, ready for the grind. Oh, I keep thinking I've got another day off, but you're all right, it is Monday tomorrow. Then I've got 2 days in London. And when can we make that? I have a t-shirt press and a stencil machine. So, Harker, we need to do it. We need to have a go. We need to have a go. I love the t-shirt. So thank you. So, well, they will be soon. I just want to get a couple more samples through just to make sure that they're, because it's what they call print on demand. We're not big enough to order 100 of the things, so you have to do it kind of on a one-by-one basis there. So we need to do lots of tests to make sure they are all okay. But it should be some point this month. They should be there. But we've got a Signal Hunter version of this one. It's got the design. What's that one? Actually, I don't know why I'm holding it up. I've got a button. There we go. When it cycles through, there's the range of things. The link isn't actually in the bio yet there. They're the boring logo ones, which you have to have. I think it's mandatory. There we go. So you've got a design one there. You've got Skywatch, the one I'm wearing now. It's quite small. And then the Signal Hunter one there as well, which I quite like as actual designs. So yeah, well, they should be out very, very soon there. And Private Tomcat is in. How are you doing? And 9 likes and 36 watching. Raf, good keeping count there. Guys, it is those likes and shares that helps us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves. And the more eyes and minds on the old phenomena, the more we all piece this puzzle together. So we do appreciate that. It's how we meet all of you. You never know who's going to come in and what they're going to share relating to the phenomena there, whether it is, you know, their personal experience or their knowledge. Maybe their career is in line with radio here, helping us understand and refine our ability to search. I'm actually very close as well, guys, to getting this live 24 hours a day. At the minute it's running off of my laptop, which I need for work, but we're very, very close to having it on a separate machine, which you'll be able to log into via our website at any point and just do your own SETI hunting and logging any anomalous frequencies for review there. So that'll be available at some point, all free obviously, there as well. Let me scroll through as well. An Alan t-shirt. So we are waiting on the design for the Alan t-shirt. We will be getting one soon. Not sure what it's going to say yet. I've got an Alan stone here. Look, this is painted a little rock. I'll explain why later. There. And I do appreciate those ones, Raf, as well. Let me scroll down here. You're having your chats. That's all good. It's a fact there. Entity there. Now, for years, they've been here. And the Bob Lazar stuff from the 90s there, proving to be more and more plausible. 100% there. I second that one. There is lots of evidence for this around there. You know, now, not one piece on its own is a slam dunk, much like the anomalous signals that we have detected over the years. Not individually, but collectively. It points to there is something going on. Do I think that any specific theory is going to be 100% true? Probably not. Look, we're all kind of blind trying to fill the elephant, aren't we, describing what we're seeing here. We've not got access to all of the data, so our assumptions are probably not going to be 100% there, but there's something to it, I think, you know, and probably quite a lot there. We'll probably be surprised, won't we? actually how correct some people were there. And friend, yes, that is it. That is the wow signal in the chat there. Perfect. So that is that because it was recorded, guys. The infamous wow signal was recorded as sort of letters and numbers when it was printed out. That's how they got that detection. Each number and letter was a different sort of strength and recorded there. So spot on there, friend. And Chris as well. Hello there, first time watcher from Shropshire. Oh, I love that. You're not too far from us there. I used to download the bits of data from SETI at home about 25 years ago and process there. Kind of lost track of what's been happening since. So Chris, honestly, so many people in our community are exactly the same. We all have such fond memories of SETI at home. And apparently that SETI announced they'd finished that program. When was it? It was literally like a few months ago. It was only a few months ago they got finished processing all of that data. And they had about 100 candidates. But there was one from those early days there. So it may well have been partly your machine responsible for a very interesting signal from a very close by star. But mainstream science has a habit of going, well, we can't get that second detection, so it must be interference then, or it must be, you know, a satellite courting, you know, it must be human made. And you go, for God's sake, guys, if you don't know, you don't know, and that's fine. We can't say it's aliens without a second, fine, but you can't also say it's a satellite without confirming it, lads. But yeah, lots of anomalous ones there. May as well have been a part of that. Apparently they are going to try and bring it back in a sort of app form at some point, they were saying, which I know a lot of you guys would like to do. But again, in the meantime, as soon as it's up, guys, you'll be able to do this at home. You'll just be able to log in and just watch and log the signals if that is your cup of tea. And as Maya says here, you can follow us. So yeah, in fact, do give us a follow or a subscribe, whatever it is, wherever you are there, because we're on pretty much every night. Clear skies, and we are doing a UFO UAP sky hunt. That's what that looks like. See all the awesome things in the night sky here over in Wiltshire, right in the heart of crop circle country. And yeah, when it's a cloudy sky, we do this, the alien radio signal hunt here, listening on the same frequency that the wow signal was heard on. All of those times back in the day. Where are we there? Brian, intelligence usually recognizes intelligence there. Well, this thing, we probably will recognize things that are similar to us. You know, from our experience, that makes sense. We can see those patterns. But what if it's totally different from us? There are certain weird properties that science are kind of going, actually, we might need to rethink this, like plasma. There is some weird phenomena with plasma, which is actually getting a big build-up in the scientific community to say, look, it might be sentient, lads. So lots of interesting things. We do not know, do we, how weird life could be out there. And is that Janny there? How are you doing? Flair with the parachute, aka the Star UFO, the best UFO video ever. I've only seen the still image from that one. I didn't actually see the full one for that one. I've seen the star image, though, or the picture of it. I haven't seen the video. And lost there. I feel as though we could be dealing with different streams of reality, looping in and out there, and the missing 411 offer a lot of strange goings on. So there is a lot of strange things going on. And I totally agree that, look, I mean, even the ghosty stuff, there is an interest, an overlap interest there, not 100%, but the world is just, the one thing that we can take from this is that the linear understanding of our human development and how the world works is probably more like 5% right. You know, and it's a great start. It's a good starting point for all this sort of thing. But the world is going to be so much stranger, so much weirder than we ever thought there. We need to allow for those rooms, the room for the possibility of the weird. And when it presents itself to us, to have a bit of a deeper look there, to see what might really be going on there. Oh yeah, right. Same. I've seen. I think I saw Vinny for Electron there. I saw him recently. He pops in and out from time to time. But yeah, I haven't seen Rob in a while either. I hope they are all good there as well. Let me scroll back over to the TikToks, guys. Let me bounce back to you. I'm across 3 chats tonight, so give me a second and I'll get across all of them there. And Grim coming in with the gifts. Harco as well there. And Valia as well, and MB, guys, thank you for the gifts there. And Grim,
nom nom nom.
Thank you for feeding Alan. Appreciate that. All goes back into the stream. All right, let me find out where I got to here before it jumped ahead on me on the TikToks. Oh, I'm right the way up here, aren't I, guys? Let me have a look. Got to Thomas, I think, didn't we? And Lou there, the closest sighting for me was on St. Pete Beach at night there in the outskirts of Tampa in the sky, and alive at night. The sky is alive. That's a brilliant way of putting it. The first time we got that camera live and got the settings right to see it all, So many moving objects. Now, the ones that we were seeing was a lot of satellites, but the skies are alive. There is so much more activity. You only have to hear and listen to, like, you guys to hear exactly how much is going on. All of the strange things there. Rio.
Nom, nom, nom. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for feeding Alan there as well. And Liv as well. Thank you for the gifts. Appreciate all those guys. And is this, yeah, you can sell your phones for store credit. I've been trying just on it. Oh, wait, what's that one? Oh, did I miss the first part of that one? Oh, that was it. Yeah, that was it. It was about your website, wasn't it? Yeah, so you can sell your photos, not phones, on there for store credit. So 100% definitely worth checking that one out, guys. It's always good in our community there, people, doing these creative things as there. So yeah, I'm sure the link will be in the Discord, guys, if you are into your astrophotography there, building up a little community there. I'll get into the chat where Sophie was in. She is quite cute. She's grumpy and violent, but she is cute. It sounds like it's getting louder. So we have a look at the signal strength there. What are we at? It's only at 22% or 23%. It's quite low, but right in the middle, it should say there, because to me, it all sounds like the same sort of thing. But there's a few of you guys in the community that can really pick out the details. And when I look, you go, that is 2% higher. How the hell did you guys pick that up? It's very good there. Alan didn't eat Sophie. He's not a fan. I'm sure he would try. And M as well coming in with the shares there as well. I do appreciate that. It is the likes, the shares, the tapping away, all that jazz that does help us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves. And if you are new here, do say hello. Let us know where you're watching from tonight there. And how do you feel about the phenomenon? I'm just working my way through the TikTok chat. But say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And I will get to you guys eventually. The signal to noise, 100% that, this is the, we need to have that signal strong enough to get over the background noise. There. And S, you are the alien there. Maybe we're the aliens. There's a few little clues in our biology that maybe life didn't originate here on Earth there. And M, do you talk to aliens? So, I don't personally. There's a few people that, basically, say that that's possible through sort of consciousness and stuff like that. But we're in the listening mode. So we're listening out the second for those distant signals, maybe from an alien civilization. They're saying, hello, is anybody else out there? So kind of like the film Contact there on that recent Apple TV series Pluribus. Sadly, we don't have a license to transmit. But also these distances as well. You really want to have a radio conversation with them there. It would take a very long time. But how about yourself there? Have you ever seen anything strange there? And Adele was back from Egypt there. So I have to be able to join the live. Well, welcome back in. I hope you had a fantastic time. And Hashcake, how are you doing? Thank you for the follow there. And what will the screen look like if it picks something up? So, brilliant question here. I can do it, but it sets off all of the buttons, basically, and lots of noises. So I'll have to, I can't, basically, there will be a ridge. So it'll be like have you seen a bell curve? On a chart there, I've changed how my mouse works. I need to figure out where it's going to be. It's going to be down here. So if you can see my mouse on here, what we'd have is we'd have a slight build up to an arch and then down again. It'd be like that, basically. Like a nipple. Think of it like that. That's what it would kind of look like, around that sort of width, maybe a bit bigger. Something like that, but coming up, coming down. Something along those lines there is what we really want to see. And ideally, right on the line, but a little bit off the line can actually help prove that it is, what we think it is. They call it Doppler shift, and basically that is where the source of that signal, if it's on a planet, as we would expect there, and that planet is in orbit around a star, right, it means it's going to be either moving away from us in orbit or towards us. And that means it will either stretch or compress the frequency there, that compress the radio wave stretch it, which means it won't actually come through precisely necessarily on that. So if we see that can actually tell us that it's actually on a body that is moving there, which is pretty cool. And where are we? Let me have a look. It's a brilliant question there, Liv. And what do you think about Area 51? So, fantastic place. I've said this before, but one day there'll be a gift shop. There'll be a tour you can do, and I look forward to that day. I hope it's in my lifetime. Is the stuff still there? Don't know. It does get a lot of publicity, but honestly, where else would you put it? It's secure. It's in the middle of nowhere, away from prying eyes. Even if people are aware of it now, it's still a pretty good place for it. They did talk about, is it Quadj, one of the islands down there in the Pacific there, one of those very remote islands, was one of the ideas of where they could put it as a different place there. And Joseph there, why is there the spectrum screen going red sometimes? So that is basically, is it going red? That's good eye. So it's meant to basically, green is low, Orange is sort of a medium frequency, and then red means, okay, it's getting strong enough compared to the baseline that we need to pay attention to it there. So keep your eyes for that. I didn't see it myself there, but you never know. That is exactly, Joseph, what we are looking for. And hey up, how are you doing? Are you back from your break as well? Yeah. It's exciting stuff. It is very exciting times as well there. We still need to do our stream up. I think we should just tease it, because I haven't actually got around to doing the special one for the one that you've done there. And Grim as well coming in with the shares. And Ayup's in the portal. Hey, if you are joining us from the portal, thank you, Ayup. We are doing an alien radio signal hunt tonight. We are searching what is called the hydrogen line. That is the channel on the radio dial that scientists theorise that if ET is out there, that is where they'd put the message. Hello, is anybody else out there? And it is where the infamous WOW signal was heard there. And it's those lines down the middle of the screen, or depending which platform you're looking at there. So lots of other stuff, analysis going on as well. We're not really getting a clear signal. What we are getting at the minute is the cosmic microwave background, the sounds of the early universe, and that is it's pretty cool to hear if I shut up behind the music, but it is not a signal. And again, a signal, if we do get lucky, if we do pass over a star that has a planet of intelligent life that is sending us a signal, it'll only be on screen for between 30 to 90 seconds there. With the speed of the Earth's rotation, that is how long it'll be on screen there. Hello, darling. You going to bed?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I just missed you.
Hamad as well there. Where are you joining us from? Thank you for the follow there. Alan was wrong. Always there, Harko. And Adele there. Good to see you. Where are we? And Pure Love as well. Good to have you in there. Hi, Tam. How are you doing? And I was watching American Horror Story. They had an alien storyline, a conspiracy theory with the White House. I saw that one, and it was mentioned the other day, and I was like, I don't remember that in American Horror Story. Then it kind of came back to me with like the floating aliens. It's a very strange show, that. I did quite like it at the time there. And Snow coming in with the shares. Sharon, welcome aboard there. And is that AI, there are we? Thank you for the follow as well there. And Mohammed as well coming in with the shares. Ocular as well, thank you for the follow. Good to have you in. Podium as well there, and Rob coming in with the shares. Thank you, guys. Good to have you in. Let us know where you're all watching from tonight there. And is it Alberto? How are you doing? Good to see you in. And Gon coming in with the gifts there. Rio and Kate, how are you doing? Thank you for all those. So it all goes back into stream, helping us improve what we do there. And Radio Planet, they are there, but we will never see them. Their distances are too big, unfortunately. That is a possibility. This is the thing. These are not distances to be shying away from at all. As far as we know, it's honestly, if you're talking thousands of years to get to your just next closest star there, we don't know of any biological life that can survive in the vacuum of space, or even within rocks and things. Although now we are life is actually looking hardier than we knew originally, so maybe there's a possibility there. But the big workaround is warp drives and wormholes. Sounds very sci-fi, and they are, but they're also real in the sense that they don't break physics. If you have enough energy, you could technically build one. Then that might be something that more technologically advanced race can do there, therefore bypassing the speed limit of the universe and kind of just getting here when they want to. And what's really interesting is the scientist, basically did the maths, went, yeah, it doesn't break physics, lads. Some other scientists recently went in and said, right, what does that actually look like to us? What would we see if a craft was using a damn warp drive? So they plotted it out, did all the maths, and then compared it to some of those classic and modern day UFO images and videos, and the little subtle distortions in the gravitational lensing blurring the light, or they were seeing those traces. So maybe that's something that they are able to do there to traverse the distances. How are you doing, Kate? It's good to see you. How's your weekend been there? We need the WOW signal. I really do. Again, it was called the WOW signal for a very good reason, because WOW, it was exactly looking like what an alien radio signal would look like, exactly where we would expect to see it. Sadly, as far as we know, it never repeated, and that is what science needs to get that confirmation. It's the testing. Are we seeing what we think we're seeing, which is reasonable. But then also, we only sent that signal ourselves once. So if we're not doing it, why would another species not, be doing it either? There as well. And Kate there, I've been here a couple of minutes and I've already, as Dodgy talks there, already. Oh, did you hear something, Liv? I mean, a few of you, again, you can hear it, I can't. I'm listening to it, but I drown it out there. Oh no, last night in Guernsey there, home tomorrow there for the rest. Oh yeah, I'm feeling that one, up. Hopefully you'll have safe travels there. Drewski is in as well. How are you doing tonight there? And Adele there. So I think my comment posted again. No worries. Sometimes when I'm going back up the chat, it repopulates other comments, so don't worry too much there. Good to see you there, Drewski there. And what software are you using? So what we're using at the very, very top, where's my cursor? So this bit here, this is a bit of software called FDR++. It's free open source, essentially the radio receiver, what you plug your radio into your computer so you can see it. Now, all of this stuff here, so again, over on, if you're on the TikTok there, check out the YouTube, same name, at the thing UFO, and honestly, horizontal, you see so much more data, because all you guys can see, okay, what's going on there? I jinxed it. It's working. There we go. That is very, very weird. Why that had that little flip out there. But anyway, it had a song. But yeah, what you're seeing, and yeah, we're making it ourselves, so exactly things like that happen. But so you're seeing the live radio signals coming in here across all the different frequencies. We're interested in this frequency here, the hydrogen line, and just around it there. But these are all different channels on the radio dial, essentially. And this is the live signals coming in across all of them there. This section is the same bloody thing again, but it actually displays all those peaks as averages, so we're seeing this nice undulation now. And what you do see sometimes, you see these big square ridges pop up, so you know, displaying the data in a different way, allowing you to see sort of patterns there. And then below, again, you guys can't see it on the vertical, but below that, it's directly behind me, is a live sky map, shows you where our dish is pointing, what stars are in range of that dish, and therefore, you know, have we got any close by targets that could potentially be there. But there's more going on. So if you're on the tubes, you're wondering, all the way over on the left there, the middle left, that is the waveform analysis of the sound that you're hearing right now, the signal coming through on that channel. That's the red line. We want it to look like the green line, basically, but it's not. It's quite flat at the second there. And in the middle, right, that is the analysis there, or shows you the information on the stars that are in range there. So at the minute, it's just CRAS, which is 140 light years away from us, gives a bit of information on that. And then the lower bits here, what else have we got down there? We've got the geomagnetic index and the solar wind speed, solar flare activity. You've got all of this sort of stuff around us as well there, all contextual information, because if we're seeing activity, it's not necessarily aliens sending a signal. You know, nature is noisy in radio, so we have to try and you know, think of what other things could contextually be causing some of the changes that we do see over time. And all of that is custom built ourselves, but I said we are making it available very, very soon to you guys, so you'll be able to just log into our website and just do this hunt anytime and log anything interesting that you see there. Right, where's my cursor? There it is. So it's a brilliant, brilliant question there. Hey up, I'm lying in bed there listening to the rain hammering on my camping pod, which really is just a big shed, not with the spiders. Hey up. How very modern of you. You're glamping. Where are we there? Yes. No thrill seeker travels, exactly, which is what we'd expect from A-Up. And did you watch Hail Mary? No, me, I watched it last night. I literally watched it last night eventually. I have seen it, yeah. And you know what? I was a bit disappointed. After The Martian, I thought it'd be much more technical. I mean, it was a good film. It was a good film. But it wasn't quite what I was expecting. But I loved I love the story, the idea, you know, of life essentially being able to travel through different solar systems. Again, we're only scratching the surface within our own solar system, and our early scratchings look like that life is everywhere in our solar system. You know, like Mars, Venus, possibly the other worlds, obviously here on Earth. You know, and then when we get out, when we can look big enough, we might start to understand and notice that there is this stream of life flowing, maybe in a similar way to they describe in the film, but maybe just through sort of traditional panspermia, the idea that planets sort of sneeze rocks on each other that have life and microbes on, and that could be how life spreads there as well. But the star that they visit there, Tau Ceti, is one that we've pointed our dish to, and it's one that actually has a history of sending what could be very strange radio signals. We know that there are super Earths in orbit of Tau Ceti, or we speculate with the data we have that there are super Earths there, so kind of rocky planets like Earth, not quite. We don't know what their atmospheres are like yet, so it could just be, you know, more Venus-like, but bigger as well there. Marcus is in. How is your weekend going there, Marcus? Good to see you. It's not as good as the book now, but yeah, I did want to read the book after. I like the idea. It felt like Hollywood got their hands on it a bit. Like they really felt that they could sell the toys of the alien, and they pushed that a bit too much. He was cool. I liked him, but I felt like they were manipulating that a little bit there. Marcus, thank you for the gifts. Appreciate that. All goes back into the stream. And how could you be disappointed there with Hail Mary? I haven't cried as much as when I watched it. I did feel those emotions. I got to give it that, right? But I wanted more details. I was craving some more specifics on what was going on there. I feel like they didn't pay enough attention to the actual science in this one. I was just so much hungry for more information on it there. You're not seeing on Reddit, okay? Oh, it's still worth a watch. It really is there. You want to be alien? I think that's what I felt like they were trying to sell me. I'm not watching makes you cry. But you're hard as nails, Kate. You're not soft like me and Ayab. It'll be fine. I'm great. I'm going to bounce back over to the tubes. You guys have been patiently waiting. Where did I get to in the chat there? Let me have a look. So I'm across 3 different chats tonight, so it'll take me a second, guys. But do still say hello and ask any questions that you've got, guys. There are no silly questions here. We want to hear all of your questions around what we're doing. Maybe, why we're doing it. If we've got nothing better to do. All that sort of stuff there. Or maybe say it in the UFO news. Or if you've got a personal experience, do share that one. We got to... no, I did that one there. Where are we? Let me catch up. It doesn't like to scroll ahead properly, does it? Having a chat there. Let's have a look. Raph, I talked to aliens. There's Carlos at work. Where are we there? We talking about my bald head there, Raph? I lost there. It could also be, and Area 51 a type storage place underwater as well. And we would have no chance to ever know. Well, this is the thing, I've heard as well that within plain sight now, apparently one of the rumours was that they've got, so many of these crashed and recovered craft that they just put them in hangars now. I mean, they've got a big lock on them, but they're not treated in the same way. It's not as new. I think Bob Lazar was talking about this recently as well. There was a sort of casualness to it. Because if you think of how they build bloody spaceships, they're in the white, clean labs. They've all got the white suits on. Every last little speck of dust is accounted for. But, what we hear about how the UFOs are kept, just in sheds, essentially, there's none of that. So, and that implies that they know that, A, it's not a contamination issue. They're not scared of it. But maybe they've got all the information. They don't need to keep them like. So maybe they are just in various, warehouses for, the defence contractors just sitting around there. Currently drinking water. I am not. I gave in and I got myself a sugary drink there as well. Have I already caught up? Yeah, I think I am actually caught up. There we go. Let me go bounce back over to the Tiki Talks. Where did we get to? Everyone says the book is much better there, so maybe that has those details. That's probably... I have to get it on audiobook up. Oh, yeah, I wanted to know more about the thing that was going on there and the technicalities of it. That's what I was interested in. Hello, darling.
Hello. So I'm here to tell you that I have come upstairs.
Hello. Yeah, well done.
I'm going to my bedroom.
Okay.
And chilling out in there.
Okay.
Otis is still in his cage, but he's still out.
Oh, he's still out. Okay.
Well, no, he's in his cage, but he's in the lounge.
Oh, okay. Hello, Otis.
2 reasons.
You could be bothered.
1, I'm too lazy. And 2, I came down and honestly, so when Sam's away, the flock do notice, especially Otis. Otis kept doing his flock calls, panicking that he couldn't find him. Tonight, listening to Sam on YouTube, I went downstairs. He was all fluffed up. Beat grinding.
Is that right, Otis?
Yeah, he missed his daddy. And then I switched it over for a second. And he would, so you weren't talking anymore. I was like, he's there.
I'm still here, Otis. It's okay. All right, I'll put him away then. Thank you, darling. You used to cry at the baby face advert. Which one was that? And how's Alan tonight? He's all right. I mean, he's unhappy that I'm back, essentially. He much rather has the room to himself. It's hammering to... Oh, God, yeah, if you're camping, up. Yeah, that's the downsides of camping there. Get your body as well there. So, yeah, guys, if you are just joining us, we are doing a live alien radio signal hunt tonight. And we are searching the hydrogen line, the channel on the radio dial where scientists theorise that if ET is out there, this is where they put the message, hello, is anybody else out there? And it's where we've heard anomalous signals from the past there, much like the WOW signal from back in the 1970s there. But there are so many more signals. One of my new favourites is the Ross 128 signals. That's a red dwarf star at about 11 or so light years from us here on Earth that apparently sent us 2 signals. Again, not confirmed. They didn't get that second detection, but I think the Ross 128 one was interesting because the data that they got it showed two separate signals. When they did eventually point back to it, they didn't. It wasn't making the noise anymore. But if you think about it, that one of the main reasons why a civilization might invest the energy required into sending these signals, that is going to be if it could be their last. So we do have to be a little bit quicker probably at getting around to do it. Sometimes there's 20 years in between the initial detection and the check-in. The most SETI is not done live like they do it in the films, or like we're doing tonight, listening live. Most of it is just all these dishes around the world. They're doing all the normal astronomy there, or astronomy, whatever it is, looking to the stars, getting all that data. And then the SETI crew just kind of get second dibs on it, and they get to go through it. But it's so much data now that it takes them a very long time. It's up to 20 years sometimes. So I always think that it's very similar to somebody ringing my doorbell and then me not answering it for 3 weeks and then wondering why nobody's at my front door. It feels very similar to that. Harko!
Nom nom nom.
Thank you for feeding Alan. Oh, a baby wipes advert. Oh, I can't imagine you're that soft, Kate. I was like 5. Okay, there we go. But after that, you thought that's too much emotion. Just hard as nails now. And Day Night there, how do we know we're listening to the right frequencies? Brilliant question. Oh, I love that one, Day Night. I had a spot on 10 points for this one. This is such a good question. There are thousands of frequencies, thousands of channels on the dial there. Why would ET be on this frequency out of all those ones? In fact, why even radio? There are other ways to communicate. They could be using light, lasers, they could use some sort of quantum property if they're that far advanced, maybe quantum tunneling there, or quantum entanglement. Maybe they've figured out how to put data into that as well. So how do we know? It's such a good question. So we're purposely listening out for a very particular type of message, which is the hello, is anybody else out there, or the we're gone guys, but here's all of our knowledge, something like that. A civilization purposely reaching out. And the reason that we think firstly radio is because radio is like a very, on the tech development tree, it's quite low down there. Obviously Stone Age people didn't have radio, but because it's a natural phenomenon, the universe screams in radio. It's actually quite an efficient way to communicate, which is just utilizing a property that's already there. And therefore, if you want a message to be heard by an unknown recipient, it's different if ET is talking to their UFO that's come to visit us, and they just go, hey guys, how's it going? That could be anyway, but if they're purposely sending this message out to the depths of space, not knowing who or how many people are going to potentially hear this message, then you want it to be as accessible as possible there. So the easier the technology, the better. So that's the first one for radio. But the second point is for this frequency in particular is that because it's called the hydrogen line, and it's the frequency that hydrogen naturally emits a radio signal as it decays, and because hydrogen's the most abundant element in our galaxy, this is like the one place on the radio dial that is exactly the same. So it gives radio scientists there, radio astronomers, a really good baseline to learn about the universe. Like this is what the background of the universe sounds like. Okay, and then we can measure up and below and go, oh look, that looked like a supernova or something else. So there will always be scientists monitoring this frequency for that background noise, for those scientific purposes. So even as we do, we use a lot more fiber optic now, but even if we communicate in other ways, there'll always be scientists listening to this frequency to learn about the universe, and ET scientists would be the same. So you get the low end of early development technology people, but then everybody else kind of keeps monitoring this for those purposes. That's the theory anyway. So yeah, if you want a message to be heard, the most amount of ears, or whatever an alien ear might look like, is going to be this frequency here. But I mean, just going to the other things, there are other potential signals coming in. I mean, we mentioned lasers. There was a recent scientist that was putting a paper together, I think, for his dissertation or whatever, his doctorate, and he went, maybe they are shining lasers. How would we know? So he got like about 3 years worth of telescope data, again secondhand. It's all used for some other observations, and he just made a program to run through it all to look for laser, like a spike of what a laser light would look like. Did any of these telescopes record what looked like to be flashed by a laser light there? Because that's not what they're looking for. They're recording the data, but they're looking and trying to pick out the bits that they're interested in, your supernovas and all of this, and your gravitational waves, whatever it might be. But yeah, no, he said, let's look for laser light. And he did his thing. He got hundreds of candidates, hundreds of potential lasers for flashes there, because he was thinking along the lines of, look, if there's an advanced civilization, you'd have to have like a galactic internet, like a node-based communication there, not just a linear line of connection, but dots all interconnecting there. You're never dependent on just one link in a chain that way. So he was like, lasers would probably be a sensible way of doing that. Anyway, yeah, he found hundreds of these candidates, and I think it's out for peer review now, but so far people are like, that actually looks good, and lasers are very interesting. Why? Because lasers are very technological in nature. You know, not much can look that's organic, produced by the universe there on its own, can look like a laser, but also they're directional. So if we have caught the flash of a laser, somebody's fucking pointing it at us. They know we're here, which is fascinating as well. But you've got other things like megastructures are a way of communicating over the vast distances. The idea that you could put something in orbit around your star, and as if it's so big and it goes in front of your star, blocks the light from it, people would see the silhouette. And we actually do notice a hell of a lot of stars dimming drastically. There is no known by far natural way of that happening. You know, we know stars go bang, we know stars cool down, but what we're seeing is this periodical decline in brightness, which implies there's something in orbit far bigger than any planets that we know of there. And some of the brightness dips are really weird, and they're all clustered together. There's some strange stuff going on, but that in of itself would be a way of doing that. You know, maybe that percentage diff, there's some sort of mathematical code in it or something. So it's such a brilliant question there, Day Night, as well. And Dimensions as well there. How are you doing? Thank you for the follow. And Denise there as well. Thank you for the shares there as well. And what are you using for an antennae, or is this from the internet? So this is our stuff there. We've got, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a very large parabolic mesh antennae that the actual receiver is tuned for the hydrogen line here. So in theory you can point this at different channels, but we are hyper focused and refined for searching this particular frequency band. I can't remember the brand name, but it's bigger than my arms by so as well. And oi, thank you for feeding Alan.
Thanks, guys.
Where are we there? And Day Night there. What if aliens, atmospheres are different, and so different frequencies are used? So, well, they would be very, very different, and this frequency can change. You know, this is the interesting thing, is that if a planet where they're sending those signals does, you know, that planet, you know, is, as we'd expect, in orbit around the star, as that planet moves away from us, it's going to stretch that radio frequency that it's sending out, and as it comes back out, it's going to compress it, it's going to be pushing towards it, it's going to compress it, and that's called Doppler shift. It's the same as if you ever heard, you know, a fire engine, a police car, an ambulance that driving towards you, you know, you can hear the pitch change. That's happening through sound waves, but the same is true of radio waves there, and that can actually tell us that that object is actually in motion, that is sending us things. So that is another way that the environment would actually adjust for it, or would be adapted. So these are things that we have to consider there, and it's very similar to the span of the average ADHD there, who has the answer to an email. There, how you doing, oi? Good to see you. And I thought that was a full sentence. Oh, what if I... Yes. Where are we? Over on the tubes. Where are we? Where did I get to with you guys? You having a chat? Where are we? Hydration mine. I do need one there. Where are we there? Where's my... I can't repeat that one, Raf. How you doing, Jamie? How has your weekend been? Good to have you in. So, guys, do make sure you're following, subscribe, whatever it is, wherever you are there, because we do this pretty much every night. Clear skies, we do the UFO, UAP, Skywatch, and so what that looks like, we see all the stars, all the satellites, all the awesome weird things, and occasionally some of those strange things happening around us here in the skies over crop circle country. If the moon's up full, that's what that looks like. See all the craters, the details there, looks pretty awesome. And tonight we do the alien radio signal hunt because it's cloudy and the weather couldn't make up its damn mind. There, it's been rough here, but here for a while to chill there. James, sit back there. So Jamie, sit back and rest up. Then we'll be here for another hour or so, just listening out. You never know, tonight might be the night there. Bad mold points there, Raf. Trying to incur the warnings. He's just trying to wind me up, Kate. He's trying to get me in trouble. He wants us exclusively on the tubes. That's what it's his plan to get us over there. Oh, fizzy. So yeah, if you've I spoke too soon then. If you've got any questions, do ask away there. Maybe you've got a personal experience to tell us about that one as we're waiting for the action to happen there. Again, we have to be in the right place at the right time. We have to be pointing, our dish has to be pointing at a distant star with a planet that has got intelligent life, and they've also got to be sending the message. Now, again, they're unlikely to be sending messages all the time. They take a hell of a lot of energy, and they've got better uses for that. And so we as humans have only allocated the resources to do it once. So we would think, why would aliens be any different necessarily? So it is right place, right time. A recent paper as well did speculate that alien civilization might be most motivated to put in as much energy as they possibly could for as long as they possibly could, if it is going to be their last, which is French for, maybe, their sun is going to explode, maybe they're getting beaten up by some other aliens there, whatever it might be. That is when a civilization doesn't want to put those resources into healthcare, into science, but all of that energy into sending out a message, maybe asking for help. That's when we probably see those messages first, just because they are so disproportionately loud, and that might be why they don't often repeat. So there's a similar overlap here. And thank you for the gift there as well. Very kind of you. So it all goes back into the stream. But yeah, and you've got an analog for this. So supernova are very, very rare in the universe. They are very, very rare events, but we see them most of the time. They're actually one of the most common things that we detect. So how does that work out? Bit of a paradox. Something that's incredibly rare, but yet we see it all of the time. Well, what happens is that they are rare, but they're so disproportionately loud, they just are louder than anything else, so we notice them more. And again, the same would probably be true about these alien signals there. We're going to notice the ones that are the loudest. Those signals are going to travel the furthest and be detectable for the longest time and distance there as well. But, it's saying that on the reverse of it, we may be picking up. There is lots of rumours that I think it's the Breakthrough Listen project there. They have a signal called BLC-1, their first signal, which was from Alpha Centauri, or looks like Alpha Centauri, or is it Proxima Centauri? I think it might be Proxima Centauri there, which is our closest stellar neighbour. And the sort of signal it wasn't on this frequency, but it implies it's sort of like their television. It's one of these leaked radio signals. Apparently it's there quite regularly. So they're not necessarily sending us a message, but we might be picking up on their general activity. And again, they are so close by. They are our closest one, about 4.2, 4.6 light years away. Not far at all. So what would that mean? If the next star along has intelligent life, is that pretty scary? Or is that pretty cool? I think that would definitely mean life is absolutely abundant there. I've seen blue wine in my local shops. I like to try actual wine, not like exciting alco poppy sort of thing there. Oh, God. Same, Kate. I have to live vicariously through one of you guys there. Oh, I see. I have to try blue things. Blue is the best flavour. So, even though I'm not a wine person, I'm going to have to try that one. And lost entity there, as long as we don't get invaded by a Tyranid type aliens, we are good. I mean, this is a risk, and it tells you something, doesn't it? That I think it's Stephen Hawkins, that was it. Yeah, he said, look, probably best, lads, that we don't send out these messages ourselves. Let's not draw attention to ourselves any more than we are already. So, because you don't know what's out there. Now, a scientist are like that if they didn't believe that there was a good chance there was not only life out there, but intelligent life that was capable of getting to us, he wouldn't have said it. He would have said, do what you want. Send as many signals as you like. It's unlikely that there's going to be people out there. Probably best not to, because we don't know. That implies that in his understanding, and obviously a very intelligent man there, Hawkins, thought that there's a good chance that they're going to be out there, and is that something that we take heed of? I said Earth has been screaming biological life for 2 billion years. It's a good chance that people would already know there as well. I mean, I'd be tempted. If we had a powerful enough transmitter, I'd be tempted for that one. I'm still tempted to do it now. Put something together. But yeah, I mean, there's also some other phenomena in the radio world as well, which could point to us being monitored for a very long time. So there were, in the early days, this was detected, but it still happens in the early days of radio, but something called a long delay echo. And what that is, well, an echo in radio, as you could imagine, look, you send your signal out, if this is the Earth, you send your signal out, right? And then it goes around the world and then comes back to you. right? The ionosphere is highly reflective, so you can imagine you send that signal and it bounces off the ionosphere, off the ground, keeps bouncing around and then can come back to you. And we know at the speed of light, it takes a fraction of a second for a signal to go around. So you kind of get this weird echo affected radio. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can. And people get these weird echoes though. But there's one called long delayed echo. So it's not a fraction of a second, it's 7 seconds. And again, we can use the same principles there. At the speed of light, if a signal's got to go out and come back, that's 3.5 seconds each way. So we can use that as distance in the same way that we talk about these stars being so many light years away. We can talk about light seconds. What is 3.5 light seconds from the Earth? Well, it's not the moon. There's no other objects up there that we know about that could be bouncing that signal back to us, or even or actively repeating it. But there is one thing, something called a Lagrange point at about that sort of distance. And a Lagrange point is basically a parking space in space. It's where they put the James Webb Space Telescope. It just sits there. Whereas everything else, like including the moon, that's in orbit, that's in motion, it's moving around, and slowly, they orbit a parent body and they'll eventually, come back in a lot of the time. And the moon's actually going out, but all of our man-made satellites, they're in motion, they're moving, they're going to crash back in at some point there. But Lagrange points are different. It's where the gravity of objects kind of cancels each other out, and I think in this case it's the moon and the Earth. The gravity, there's a bit in between where the gravity interacts, it's just poof, you can park something there, which is, if you're an alien species that notice that planet's got life, and you go, right, let's put a probe in orbit to monitor it, and then if that life gets intelligent, then the probe can wake up. And what would a probe do if it woke up to intelligence there? What would be the signal of intelligence? Well, a technological radio signature would be a good shout. And this is what we theorised that we would do if we could put a probe in orbit around a distant planet. Wait until you hear a technological radio signal, and then how do you reply? What could their language be? All you've got to do is repeat their message back, and that shows intelligence. It's how we interact with like monkeys in the zoo, or parrots there as well. If you wave or you try and mimic the behaviour, don't you? You try and get that, like if they're moving their arm, you move your arm, just to make that connection there. So you repeat that signal back, which that really does fit the long delay echo theory there. There could well be a probe or multiple probes that were put there at some point in our past. I find it pretty interesting there. And where was that? Is that Obsidian? God, my eyes, that screen is tiny there. Oh, TV signals. It'll be our luck that the WOW signal was a license fee reminder there from Proxima Centauri Broadcasting Corporation. That would be good, yeah. Their equivalent of don't forget to pay your license there. God, that would be interesting, I wonder how similar, because this thing, in all of the rolls of the dice of how life can work and how civilizations and communities can form. Just look at how diverse animal life is here, and insect life, and just life in general on Earth. It's crazy. But maybe, so what is the chances that there would be anything familiar? Would they even have TV, there? Would they even have things that they sit around, entertainment they all consume together? Maybe. But maybe, you think it's like low odds of that, but maybe there's a reason. Maybe intelligent life converges on the same ideas a lot of the time. So maybe they do have that. They're either going to be so different or they're going to be exactly the same. It's probably unlikely to be in between there. Or an email complaint of why Lovejoy has finished. Well, apparently they're bringing it back. They're going to ruin it, Raph. They're going to ruin it. But it was the best series ever made on TV there as well. Where did we get to in the TikTok chat? Let's have a look. Oh, Blue Wine, yep. And next things I'm going to create is a website for, all over Europe there. I'm going to start it soon. Whether 100%. Excuse me. Is this? Let us know how you get on with that. It's always good to be creating in this world. There, Dara, how are you? And thank you for the heart. Appreciate that. All goes back into the stream there, including members, Patreon, super chats, all that jazz there. All goes back in there. And Lost Apricot, is this also on YouTube? Yes, it is. And in fact, it is a better version. There's a lot more analysis. You guys over on the TikTok, you're just seeing the middle part of the screen, the center. So you're only seeing really essentially 2 bits of data there. Whereas the full horizontal view, you've got the 2 bits you see now. You see the details on any stars that are in close by range of our dish. You see where our dish is pointing in the live map. You see the waveform analysis of the actual sound that we're hearing. Weather conditions, solar flare activity, geomagnetic index there, and solar wind speed. You get loads of information, but more importantly, less of my face and more data. So definitely check it out there. We are at the thing UFO across all of those ones as well. So definitely worth checking us out, seeing what it's like there as well. And I posted movie suggestions in the movie chat where they got a response to the Arecibo message. And which one was that? Because we had, wasn't it one of the crop circles that was reportedly a reply, wasn't it? But yeah, they didn't. People said as well that the wow signal could have been a reply to the Arecibo message out. As humans are sending out that message. The only thing is that if we're saying the wow signal again, we think it's 74 that we sent that message. 73, 74. We sent our Arecibo message out, and then the wow signal was like 1978 there. So if it's 4 years, well, at the speed of light, that's 2 light years either way. That's not even Proxima Centauri there. That's too close, isn't it, for it to be there as well. I'll look for it next Friday. 100%. It's definitely worth checking out because we also do sky watches as well, guys. So that's what that looks like. We're based right in the heart of Crop Circle country here in Wiltshire in the UK, right down the road from Stonehenge. So a very ancient and mysterious landscape with a lot of strange and interesting things in these skies. So when it's a clear sky, that is what we're doing. And speaking of which, let's have a look at the weather. When is our next clear bit that they think? Not that I ever trust the weather. Monday, rubbish. So we'll be doing another one of these. And Tuesday, rubbish. Wednesday, luckily I'm away Tuesday night. Alright, Wednesday, it's a possible. Saying a bit of cloud there. Thursday, possible skywatch. Saturday. Friday's looking very good. So if the weather holds, guys, it should be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for sky watches. So we'll be on again, probably doing this tomorrow night. Maybe we'll do the colouring stream up tomorrow evening if you're back before we come on for the main live. Cosmos, yeah, that was the one. That was it. I can't even remember the details. I know they were looking for a satellite, weren't they, in that film? But that's a good one. That's a perfect one for the movie club suggestion there. Cosmos, yeah. Oh, thank you for the heart. Oh, you'd be hoping to a perfect A up. So I'll see. I'll see if because Leanne likes to do the colouring ones, so we'll have to we'll try and line that one, do an earlier one, and then roll into a SETI afterwards. For that one, it'd be about time that we do it. I thought I better not do it last week because I thought because I thought if I'm going away I won't be able to do any posting there. Excellent is this. Looking forward to it. Where do we? Let me get over to the tubes there. And UAP anomalies there. Those orb/UAPs are everywhere. And I've been videoing them for the past year here in New Zealand. Oh, New Zealand. So what's the UFO and the alien culture like in New Zealand? Is it like everywhere else where, the mainstream until recently haven't been very interested in it? Or has there been, because some places like here, South America is actually quite open to the UFO stuff there. Have you got any local stories that we might not hear about? I'd love to hear about those ones at UAP Anomalies. And Syntax is in. How you doing? Voyager 1 just entered the interstellar space there. Craft has loads of Earth information on it there, like music and language there. But that might not be good if the Dark Forces forest idea is true. Well, this is the thing. We just don't know. That could well be true. And the Dark Forest idea, the idea that basically animals, in the dark forest won't make a noise because the first one that does gets eaten by a predator, so everybody keeps quiet. The forest is silent because of the fear of the predators there. And maybe that's why we don't hear the obvious signals, we don't see the obvious signs out there in the universal life. We're all keeping quiet because there's some big bad boys out there. And I think game theory is anything to go by. You probably would be best to snuff out life rather than encourage it. So maybe that is, the true of what could be part of what's going on there. But with the Dark Forest, the actual book series, so the Free Body Problem, the Netflix TV show is actually part of a 3-book series. I think it's called the Dark Forest trilogy. There, as most of us have seen, the Free Body Problem, the first book in the series has been televised, and it was really interesting. It was the George Bush administration was the actual, I can't remember what the division of it was there, but the actual administration in the White House, they had to read that book series as part of their, not briefing, but if you're coming to work for us, you need to read that book series. So what is it in that book series, which, guys, it's not really geopolitics, this is all about aliens. What is it about that they needed to know? What brought them up to speed? Very, very interesting. I mean, if you look at what science has been doing, especially string theory, it does look not a lot like the free body problem. Now we're getting the missing and dead scientists. Could be something to it there. Oh, you know what, Kate? I haven't downloaded it yet, but I did buy it the other night. It was on sale. I got it for £6. So maybe we'll do another game night. Actually, we haven't done one of them in a while. Yeah, maybe we'll do that one tomorrow after the colouring, if Leanne is up for that. Loving the stickers there, Up. Yeah, we'll have a weird stream tomorrow, probably. Oh, and yeah, it's absolutely pushed under the rug there. We have a lot of historical documentation here, including an official mail plane being followed, and the object recorded in 1978. Now, that is pretty cool. Again, in the 70s, there wasn't really much other stuff going on and around there. What is going on with that? Why is TikTok throwing me a sulk? My connection's fine. That's a you problem, TikTok. Deal with it. Game nights are pure fun. I do wonder what everybody else, because the YouTubers haven't seen one of our game nights, Kate. I'm apprehensive what they're going to make of that. Oh, no, there is my internet is going funny now. Why is that doing that? Let's have a quick look. Oh, my. Well, there's nothing on here. So why is my internet going funny? Weird. Oh, well, we'll have to lump it. Hopefully it's not too bad for you. And, oh, we're back. Yeah. I don't know why TikTok's having a bit of... the internet series having a bit of a sulk. I'm not sure. Somebody in the local area. I think we've only got one internet for the whole town. There. Aliens hacking it. We're getting close to them, aren't we, is this? I have to introduce them to a review at some point. I don't know what they're going to make of that game. Or the Giga Chode. Trying to explain that to the new group. And Serene, how you doing there? It's on the receiver's end. Yes. Oh, that's good then, Serene. I never know. We do get issues here. We still got rural internet, although they are planning apparently by December to have fibre here. So we can laugh and we can look back fondly then and go, ha! Remember we used to have connection issues. It won't be. Hopefully, it won't be too long. Hopefully, it will be before bloody December. But yeah, so yeah, honestly, there are some of those historical stories. You just go, oh, what is the explanation from there? And they are seen here. They're coming out of the water as well, and that's common. So again, apparently it is very, very common. And I didn't know anything about that. I mean, I kind of assumed there'll probably be some sightings over water. You know, there's a lot of water. But yeah, the amount that's come out, and for how long? You know, those really historical Navy records. What else? You know, even was it Christopher Columbus on his voyage to the New World described what he saw as a giant fucking candle coming out of the ground, or coming out of the water. You know, and if you think about it as well, you know, if you're an alien, you're traveling through space, think of all the different environments, the different radiation levels, different pressures, different acidities in the air, you know, whatever the chemicals you might be going through, gravitational effects, all of these sorts of stuff, the different variations of environment. Well, water, liquid water, if you've got it, that's consistent. No matter where you are, that is consistent there. So it would make sense. Plus, it's away from us. That could be their little refuge. And lately, last month, I have been recording these orbs over top of a military airbase here in my town of Blenheim there. And it's not far away from our 5-hour eyes complex. Again, that might be why they're very, very interested. Now, if you've got any good recordings there, UAP, we have a cool Discord community there. I should have a link in bio for it. But we've got like a personal experiences section where a lot of you guys are putting in first-hand accounts of the phenomena. I will be frozen on TikTok, but essentially, guys, you are welcome to join that and put them in there, and I know the rest of the community would love to see them. Oh no, it says it seems to be working. Hopefully it's unfrozen for you guys. It's working for me, TikTokers. But yeah, I know the rest of our community would love to see it there as well. So a non-disclosure may purely be to protect an exospecies. Well, it could well be. There are many. That's a good angle on it there, Mike. Is it protecting us? Is it protecting them? It's working again now. I don't trust bloody TikTok. That's, guys, is why it's worth checking us out over on the tubes. It's always good as a backup. Seems to be slightly more stable. Slightly. It is good to see you all, though. Definitely feel out of whack with all of the few days off. And typically, You know, we hardly ever take any time off, but it was 2 nights this weekend. Then I go, oh crap, I've got to stay over in London in the week, so that's Tuesday night I can't do. And then I go, oh God, I've got a friend staying over Friday and Saturday. And this friend, I've known him for a very, very, very long time, but I haven't told them that I do this. So how do I go, right, I'm probably going to keep you up at night. Why are you going to keep me up at night? Well, aliens. So that's going to be interesting. I might shift the deep dive, so members and Patreons, we might shift the deep dive to Thursday night, because if Friday's looking like a really good clear sky, we want to make sure we have all of the time for that one. So I'm going to see what the weather's doing, but we might shift the deep dive to Thursday evening. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. I've been uploading to the channel there. I'm not here to... No, that's fine. UAP, honestly, the more that we, I think, work together and the more that we share, that is how we get this disclosure out there, isn't it? You know, so whatever it is that you've decided, I think, guys, definitely check out UAP Anomalies. Let's see, because the more we can all see and we can all learn together there, I think we've got to work together. You know, the more eyes in the sky, the more minds coming together there. So 100% UAP. You're very, very welcome to. And again, guys, check them out. Let us know there. My problem is I always forget. I forget, and there's no list afterwards where I can click on. So I will totally forget unless I get tagged in something. Where are we? And I think the tubes is the main right now. It is at the minute. The tubes is the busier B, but these things go from A to B, don't they? They pick up. Calm down there. Well, we've got the new Alien game, so we might do that one tomorrow as a little bit of something different. Then we might do our special stream with Leanne earlier on, and then we'll roll into potentially a gaming stream, potentially. Although it'd be 2 different streams in a row, so maybe we will do another signal hunt. We'll have to see how it goes. I do want to do a gaming stream. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think the reality of whatever the phenomena is, I think it's going to be a lot stranger than any of us can get our head around. Have you ever heard, is it the 3 blind men trying to describe an elephant, and one of them's there going, oh, it's kind of snake-like, and he's got his trunk, and the other one's got his leg, and he goes, no, it's more tree-like, and the other one's kind of got his tail, and he goes, no, it's more twig-like, and you know, they're all disagreeing, describing, you know, this elephant, because they've only got one part of it each, and all, you know. And I think we're kind of like that about phenomena. We're doing our best with the experiences that we've had and the little bits of information that come through, but it gets only a fraction of whatever the reality is and how complex that could be. Are we even capable of perceiving what the phenomena is fully going to be like there? Have we got the sensors? Can our brains work enough to, you know, to even understand these things? I wonder who is closest there. I'm leaning at the minute towards life being absolutely bloody everywhere. Even complex life to be quite common there. Microbes everywhere, complex life to be pretty much, you know, at least in every solar system. But rather controversially, I'm thinking that we're all related. There might be a handful of exceptions, but I don't think there's, science calls it abiogenesis, which is life starting from nothing. A series of freak events, lightning, the right chemical reaction, turning, you know, from RNA to DNA to whatever it is to cellular, all of that chain of events there, abiogenesis. Where I think that initial case probably will happen somewhere, but we're all later on down that train. You know, we're all ever so slightly related. Lots of cousins, you know, it's gone off in its own here or there, but we've all come and stem from one point, I think. Maybe not everywhere in all of the universe there, but definitely within the galaxy. I think there's going to be commonalities. And recently, they actually found, didn't they? They think are our sun's sibling stars there, because how stars are formed by our current understanding is big cloud of all the spicy gases. Those gases condense and then, you know, merge into the balls of gas, which is our, you know, the stars, and then the remnants kind of form, and all that other material form into the planets around them. And they call it a stellar nursery there, those clouds, and there'd be a handful of stars all form in the same one there, but apparently they found over 6,000 stars that could be siblings of our sun, which is a hell of a lot. That's a large amount there, and they think actually something very strange may have happened to cause that many. I think that possibly, I think the Sagittarius, the remnant of the Sagittarius galaxy probably merged with our galaxy, the Milky Way, a long time ago, and during that merger that created the volatility and all the matter to therefore have this big star big boost of stars being made, and then also launching them, because our star's weird. It's got a lot of older elements in it, and we're actually out on the arms of the Milky Way. We're in the suburbs, the new bit, we shouldn't have all of those heavy stars should be in the middle, where all the old stars have died and those supernovas have produced the heavier elements. So our star doesn't fit. It should be in the middle, but it's not. It's out in the arms. So we've got this complex star, which, gives us all of the right light frequencies for lights to grow, photosynthesis, all that sort of stuff. But we're also in the safer part of the galaxy. So maybe it's these unique circumstances that helps life arise. But if there's over 6,000 others, that's a lot of other opportunities for life. Again, if in those early days of the stellar nursery, maybe when all those stars were close together, maybe those distances were close enough for panspermia to kind of kick in there, spreading for all of them. And that might be why the greys look like us, all bipedal, heads on shoulders and all that sort of stuff are there. And UFO and Meme Master, how you doing? And do you think if we're all related somehow, we are all connected, like spiritually or mentally? So it's a very good question, and you know what, everything seems to be pointing in that direction at the minute. We focused a lot, especially in Western traditions, on the physicality, the physical world, reductionism, cause and effect, which is a big part of how our reality as we experience it exists. But there's this whole other bit that we ignored quite substantially, and we're now scratching the surface. We're now going, wait a minute, and the mainstream scientists are looking at this going, maybe consciousness, maybe reality, maybe we're not locked to our bodies, but our actual our consciousness is coming from somewhere else. And they sound very, very quite out there, and a lot of the times now you're hearing these scientists come out with these things and you go, you've just described Buddhism, or you've just described meditation, or there's things that everybody's kind of had ideas about in the past. So it does feel like there is something going on. There's a big gap of what specifically could be going on, but there's a lot of possibility. I mean, what I do know to be true is that we are literally the universe experiencing itself there. We think of ourselves a lot of the time as different to nature. We have this issue as humans, just us versus nature, but we are nature. And we are also, nothing compared to the strength of nature. It's our ego again. And, we're going to be related to these things, whether it is that we just function in the same reality, or maybe there is that direct genetic link through life. There is going to be connections. We operate in the same spaces, same rules will probably apply. So I think could well be there, UFO. And Eden as well, thank you for the follow. Where are you joining us from tonight there? And the truth will be wild there, no doubt about lots of different areas. It really will be. I think the one thing that we can take from this is that our current understandings for pretty much everything are not very good, right? I think, and that's not to throw away the work of science, the work of humanity over the decades. It's tremendous what we have done and what we have achieved. We've got to go, this is really great. But on the other hand, we have to remember that, we have got the equivalent of somebody going, verbal directions. Yeah, go left, then right, then down the street, then right again, and then you're there. And we were going, I need to travel across the continent, and you've given me 4 points. Eventually, it's such a low resolution understanding of reality, the universe, nature, our history even, We have to understand that our maps that we draw are just that. They are maps. They are not high resolution. They are not the reality. It's going to be so much more diverse and interesting. And there's also a Planet X theory that there's a ninth planet beyond Neptune. So they do think that, and I think they again, you never know, because they always say, we're getting close, but they do say they're getting close to actually locating it there. But they call it trans-Neptunian objects there, anything that is outside of Neptune's orbit, but so far away and relatively speaking not kind of big enough to reflect enough light back to us so we can visually see it. But there are lots of clues, normally in the orbits and sort of angles of the other planets and things there, that something of high mass has had a gravitational interaction with the other bodies in our solar system. Something's kind of come through and left a wake like a boat, basically. They can see there's a gravitational interaction, so they do theorize that there could be multiple objects out there. But it always comes back to, for me, that you talk out to the Anunnaki and all of the Zachariah Sitchin stuff around that, this extra planet that just is on such an eccentric orbit that it only comes through the inner solar system every now and again. It reminds me of that, and you go, oh, this is starting to add up, lads, starting to add up. And if it does, that ain't a good thing at all. High gravity object, high mass there, high gravitational interaction coming through the middle will shake shit up, and we wouldn't want to be around for that. That is not a good sign. And is there anything you don't know about that? Lots. I can't remember Leanne's birthday. We've been together 15 years. I'm joking, I do know that one, but there's lots. Okay, I just have a good memory of the one lines out of 1,000 different podcasts. I don't know any more around it. Literally, it sounds good. There's no substance. I'm all looks. It would be a freezing. Well, this is another point there. Like you take the Zachariah Sitchin stuff there. If something is on that sort of orbit there, it's not getting any radiation from the sun, any heat there at all. So, for how would life develop there, and then how would it survive in the real cold temperatures? It would have to have some really crazy shit going on with its inner core there, providing the heat. So we do think that life under the ice shell planets there, life could, in theory, arise and survive in the waters there with those thermal vents if there's enough inner core activity. But if it's too small of an object, it will just cool down really quickly, like Mars. Mars is pretty close in size to Earth, but it's not as massive, and that sort of density is a rough way of thinking of that. And therefore, because it's not as dense as Earth, it cooled down a lot quicker, and it doesn't, as far as we understand it, have the same sort of magnetic core activity causing the magnetic field that we have that protects us from the solar rays that may have stripped the Martian atmosphere. Current understanding, don't know how true that is, but that's where we're working from. So how would they survive out there as well? But we're looking at other bodies in our solar system now, like Sirius as well, which is essentially just a big asteroid, planetoid. It's just round, but it's it's a large rocky body, but it's not quite a planet. And again, that could have life there. I mean, there was literally, I think, a comment there going, wait, that's got all the organics, maybe that could have life too. I think it's going to be absolutely everywhere. Life is probably far more resilient than we can even think there. And Rusco, how are you doing? You're late to the party. It's no worries. You missed anything? No, just good chat and hanging out. Good to see you, though. I hope you've had a good weekend there. And extremophiles can exist in extreme cold and heat. Now they can, and that range is growing. It's ever growing, and it really blew my mind the other day that it was fruit flies. So that's quite a complex organism here. We're not talking about a single cell or a bacteria here. It was fruit fucking flies, and they survived. I can't remember what it was now, but they survived in some extreme thing for like 10 days or something. Or what was it that they revived? It might have been. It was some sort of complex thing, tiny bug or whatever it was. It wasn't tardigrades. They are known to be very resilient already. But there was something, they defrosted it in the permafrost, and that had survived 40,000 years. So 40,000 years, even at the speed an asteroid travels, that gets you to the next solar system. You can all of a sudden here, and if you can, survive, and we know they could survive re-entry. We've all heard of the Goldilocks zone, haven't we? And that is the idea. It's this sweet spot, however far from a star, that's hot enough to have liquid water, but not too hot that's going to evaporate it. So it's not ice, it's not evaporated there. And we're in the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold. But that's basically pointless now. Although, obviously, that is where liquid water will be. Why does, we look to the moons of Jupiter, which are well out of the Goldilocks zone, and we think, they could have life. There is, again, it's just, we're starting from what we know as humans, which is always going to be in the minimum, and then we're adding to it there. So I think, as you say, that what we can understand life to survive, we've not looked, we've not tested a lot there, and it's always getting bigger, isn't it there? And the moons of Jupiter need investigate. They 100% do. But Mars, we need boots on the ground at Mars. Mars is going to be a lot weirder than we have ever thought. I think there's going to be some real clues that are going to fuck shit up with Mars there. But I'm glad there's a Venus mission coming soon. It's a private one, but hopefully can you imagine if that actually confirms life in the clouds of Venus there? That would be phenomenal, because Mars has got life. There's no fucking around now. Mars has got life. It's got microbial life, at least there. So, and if Venus has got it, and Earth's got it, that's 3 in a row. That's going to be bloody everywhere there. We've had a few Discord joins tonight. Oh, have we? Welcome aboard, Discord crew. I have to check if they're... Mold spores, wasn't it? There. What was that one? I'm so far behind. Oh, might be. Yeah, it might have been out. Yeah, that survived that long. But this is the thing. It's crazy. Excuse me. You know, what is it? The Russians are always wiping the outside of the International Space Station, going life. Like, it's so much more resilient. We just haven't tested it, and that just always reminds me of when you know, the Fermi paradox. Where is all the life? Lads, looking up to the sky and seeing a couple of stars is not looking for aliens. You wouldn't see, you know, you've got to look. We don't listen on the frequencies where we'd expect to detect warp drives being used. You know, we covered that in one of our deep dives, didn't we? We're not paying attention to all the stars. In fact, when we do get interesting signals, we fuck around for 20 years. You know, we don't do a lot of work. We are not really looking. But even without looking, how many of us have had strange experiences? You know, there is some stuff going on there. There are some great photos of Mars that really are. We are very, very lucky to time. I remember the first time I caught, I don't know if it was Curiosity rover that did like the panoramic, and you could just hold your phone up in augmented reality and just go, I'm looking at another planet. That's insane. Like, pinch yourself, lads. That is insane, isn't it there? Mars needs some digging. Kate, I'm sending you. I've got you on the first of the list there. There's going to be some interesting stuff on Mars. There really, really is there. I mean, it was Earth-like. Even if it didn't get intelligent, like if we're saying there's microbes and Mars had long enough, it was habitable for a very long period of time, like there's going to be stuff on Mars there. Even if it didn't get to intelligent life, I think it possibly could have. There's some definitely interesting signs there. Like Mars is going to be weird. A very interesting, varied rock there, and terrains and formations. There really is an interesting place. I mean, just some of the things about it, like it was something to do with its water distribution, which we can obviously see the continents of Mars, can't we? We can see where it would have had its oceans and stuff like that. And it was something to do with those, but also the fact that Mars is kind of elongated. It's stretched. It's as if it's been held gravitationally by a larger planet. So, you know, and people have always speculated that Mars was a moon of a bigger planet that the gods got unhappy with and destroyed. There's a few different stories to talk about that, but Mars actually looks like it spent a lot of its formative years in close gravitational bond to a larger body. You know, if any of that is true, it's interesting there. The ripples or liquid tracks in the rock. There's lots of things like that, isn't there? You know, it looks like liquid is still moving on the surface. And this is just the surface. Think of what could be in those lava tubes. But, I mean, look, we've known there is a life on Mars since the 1970s there. And the only reason that they disregarded those tests from the Viking rovers was because one of the other tests didn't detect organic life, organic material in the surface. And that was the only reason that they said that those other tests were inconclusive. The ones that came back repeatedly positive for life currently in the soil. It was because the other one, well, you know, if there's no organic material, how could life possibly there? It must be an error. Well, now we know that they doesn't need organics necessarily. But also, our rovers since then have proved that there are organics in the bloody soil. So there is no excuse. There is life by their own definitions there. And that is just a little bit that we have tested. You know, there could be some very weird things there. Let's have a look. I'll get a perm and an Alan with a fez. My fez is a bit too big for Alan. Yeah, he needs a little fez. But has the Mars rover actually found anything more significant in the material it returned? Well, it hasn't returned it yet, has it? That's the problem. They've got all the samples, but they cancelled the other half of the bloody mission, so they haven't got the samples back. And that's what science wants. They want no ambiguity. They just want to have the soils in the surface, you know. But the experiment, the label release experiment, and there's another one on that mission. It multiple times tested positive for life, and it's never found here on Earth. And so the only reason that they said that positive life test was not valid was because of the organics not being detected in the other test that they did. But we've now found organics. So active microbial life. And it's a fascinating experiment. They've used it on Earth for a very, very long time to detect bacteria in water supplies, and it's like 100% accuracy, never found here. And yet on life, so essentially they take a sample of the Martian soil, they fed it. Right, so if there's life in there, it's going to need food. So they injected it with like a nutrient-rich serum, and then they thought, well, if we feed microbes, they will have a waste product, and the food will slightly radioactive. So basically, then once they eat the food, their outgassing of the waste will be radioactive, and we can detect that. And they fed the nutrients, and they go, oh, we're detecting the waste product, and so then they cooked it. They totally cooked the soil basically in the sample, and then tested it again and went, oh, well, now we're not getting anything. Because you've killed all the bacteria, so cause and effect. But then they took another sample, got a positive test, and then they half cooked it, and they got half the sample. They got half the return on it, so as if they'd killed half the microbes. So it's probably going to be absolutely everywhere, isn't it, that? And would we be actually told if they're genuinely had? So, no. And the scientists have actually come out and said this. Same with the SETI stuff, doing all this now. They won't. And you know what? I do kind of get why. I don't think it's their decision to make, but I do kind of get why, which is if they're only going to get a small piece of that puzzle, and they will get hounded to the nth degree for more information that they don't have, So like with the microbial life, like they're, declaring life, they needed more information around that to kind of come back to people's questions. Like if we got a SETI signal, if the SETI organisation got a signal, got an anomalous radio signal that looked to be from a distant star, and they came out in the news, everybody would be like, are they coming to get us? Are they good? Are they bad? How many fingers have they got? What do they want? And they'd be like, well, we don't know. We just detected a signal. What does the signal say? No, we don't know. We just detected it. And that's, like science works on those small individual steps, which we as the general public are always going to be hungry for more. So they just don't want the aggro, basically. And a lot of them have just come out and basically said that one. That's probably you don't need conspiracy a lot of the time. Like Mars just doesn't, and NASA doesn't want to, say anything there because they can't provide any more information around it there, and they'll get the judgment too. So probably not there. Oh, and I'm more interested in the ice in the craters of the moon. I mean, well, it looks like we're going back there, doesn't it? We might even get to visit it, which is older than the Earth. What? I'm interested in the ice in the craters on the moon, which is older. How can the ice and the craters, because the Earth and the moon form, but I suppose the moon would have cooled down, being a smaller object, wouldn't it? So I suppose, yeah, it's interesting. I never thought about that one up. That is interesting. It's a very good angle, yeah, because smaller mass object would have cooled down. It's only 23% its density. It would have cooled down long before the Earth, wouldn't it? There, so that could have had life again. That would have been in the same biology stream, wouldn't it? Of panspermic distribution of matter coming through from Mars or from wherever else there. And ice caps at the poles of Mars there must contain something. They probably. I mentioned this in the other stream, but I need more information on it. And I think this goes to prove the point that I was just saying about, not giving the scientists hounding the scientists when they give us a little bit of information. Like, one NASA scientist recently, he just dropped this one line in a podcast, and I'm like, no, I need more. You've got to tell me more now. And he basically, he's a bit of an out there, so he's kind of pro-our sort of stuff, very open-minded to it, gets piss taken out of all of his colleagues, but he still works for NASA and still very much in the mainstream, so he hasn't been fully ousted. But he dropped this one line in, which was, talking about life probably being everywhere. He's a big fan of that. And he said, look, if you look into the pictures of Venus, I'm not saying there is, but he said, if you look at the few pictures that we've taken of Venus, he said, you could argue that it does look like on some of those images there may well be crustaceans. So like crabs and shellfish, that sort of life. And I'm like, okay, which picture, which rock are you thinking looking like a crab, mate? I want to know. And he said along the lines of, well, look, we don't know how quickly Venus's atmosphere and environment changed. How quickly did it become the hellhole that it is now? Maybe life had time to adapt to those horrendous pressures and environments there. And friend there, did you ever use the RTO? No, so we haven't actually, but that would be quite cool to do. So mainly the dish that I've got is just in a fixed position, so it's a pain in the arse to try and align it. But I do want to get a little tracky thing for it, so we can do that, because I've seen people do that, friend. It's really cool, basically using this dish to point it at a weather satellite, and they're literally just taking images all of the time and just it's like having a live feed camera looking down at the Earth, and when you tune into them, it just draws these pictures row by row, like of the Earth, and you see all the clouds. It's so awesome. I'd like to do that one. I am thinking about trying to tap into, is it Sentinel-2, the European Space Agency satellite that you can get not a direct connection with, but you can get a good like live feed from, live-ish feed from them, you know, that will just constantly updating images of the Earth's surface and other data. So I thought then if we could, like, you know, train some AI to like interpret, is there any UFOs that we can see? And the images are so good. They really are. I would like to do it. I'm not that skilled at it though, friend. That's the problem. I have to try it there. There are very few images of Venus, so I shouldn't be able to. That's what I thought out. I mean, they only had a couple of successful Venera missions, didn't they? And I've looked and I can't find anything there. Even with my eye wanting to see a crab, I couldn't see one. So there you go. That is your mission, guys. Look through the Russian Venera probe images there from Venus and find the crabs. I wonder what percentage of people would panic at the news of aliens. Good question. I think that depends, doesn't it, on what type of aliens. Like, aliens are living amongst you. This is Greg. He might eat your children. Or there's life on a very distant planet with detected gases, but it's so far away and it's probably just, you know, microbes there. Or, you know, okay, look, the aliens are real, the flying saucers are real. Occasionally they'll take your friend, maybe your cow. We can't really do much about that. And in fact, I think I'm a big fan of, you know, incompetence. You know, they never subscribe something to malice when, you know, it can just be incompetence, whatever it is there. Occam's razor of just, you know, look, people are stupid there, so you don't need conspiracy to explain everything. And so I think, for me, and what feels right, as why we don't have disclosure at the minute, or why we're fighting to get it, is that the answer is that there is something going on. And they don't really know. Maybe they've got a little bit here, you know, a little bit there. Go, well, look, they're not from here. But beyond that, you know, maybe there's nothing they can do about it, you know. And that is something a government never wants. That is their job. It falls apart if they can't protect, or at least pretend to have the allure of protecting their community, their society. So to say, look, yeah, okay, there are what appears to be aliens coming every now and again. We've shot a couple down, a couple have crashed, people do disappear. Not much we can do about it, lads. If that is the version of the truth, that's not something that people want to hear. You know, you don't want to be the president announcing that, do you? The old Nasha Tether video was very interesting. Oh, you know what? I meant to watch that one. That popped up on my feed. I didn't get a chance to watch it though, or I forgot. But they know more than that. And since I don't think they're going to know nothing. But maybe they don't have some of the fundamental answers, so that's why they don't want to tell us. But yeah, whatever they know, again, I don't think it's there, even if it is bad news for them, but it's just not their right, you know? They just don't get that luxury. We need to know whatever the truth is, how much we have of it there. We will adjust. It doesn't mean there won't be friction, doesn't mean there won't be fighting. There are often a cost to these things, but it doesn't mean that you don't do it. You know, like, it's like these things, you know, obviously you don't want astronauts to die and stuff, but if we said, right, okay, there can be absolutely no risk of any of this, we'd never have gone to space. We would have never have done anything. You know, there has to be a certain amount of, you know, paying a price as part of being, you know, alive there. They seem to be doing a soft release of disclosure to test around. I think that they're doing it. It feels like they're laying that foundations there. I think they're doing it. Release one bit, world doesn't collapse. Release another bit. You know, they've got to get, because this thing, you've got to meet people where they are. If they come in too higher a level, and there's like 5% or 10% of the population, it doesn't actually have to be much, that are just so shocked that they can't go to work anymore and pay their taxes, or worse, kick up a fuss, that's bad news. So you've kind of got to start at the lowest point there. You've got to kind of, and I think part of that NASA announcement, well, life is, you know, probable on, you know, Mars. You know, we've got these fossils, and it looks like life, lads. Now, they haven't said that there definitely is, but we know, you know. And I think that'd be the next step, to say that there is life on Mars, and there is life on those distant planets there. Just seeding it, getting people adjusted, and then they'll slowly build up with the release, as long as something doesn't get in the way. 100%. Thinking back to Atlas, there were a lot of excited. There were a lot were excited, and it didn't really come across many were scared. It's kind of mixed. I was when I was reading the comments. We literally had people come in a few times, and they were coming in going, "Are the aliens coming? Oh my God, what do I do?" I remember a couple of people, and again, it's however many people came in. It probably might be a small percentage, but they were scared. They were like, "What do we do? What's going on?" And. I think, people, there were definitely people in the comments going, "Oh my God." I mean, there's much people going, "I don't trust it," and vice versa. It depends, doesn't it, on your view of the world. Like, if you have only ever seen bad alien movies, you are going to think that every alien interaction is bad. And there are other sort of worldviews as well that can align for that. And the same, there'll be people who go, "No, aliens are all good." And I think, we just don't know, do we? And they're good. Oh, they really would. They really would. These days, and this is why I think that they would just think it's a lot of people would think it's bollocks, even if before AI it would have been, we just don't trust whatever president that is, or disclosure isn't necessarily a single event or a single document. Disclosure is that line in society when more believe than do. It's the boundaries of international water. There isn't a hard wall there. There isn't a hard line. At some point we cross it. And, it's just that the cultural consensus then is actually, what, you don't believe in aliens, then you're the weird one, And I think it's all done in the small, boring ways. It is... it is the fact that we have the platforms like we're on here tonight where we can just come in here and we can talk and we can share. Ben as well, sorry.
Nom nom nom, thanks.
Missed you feeding Alan there. I think it's that lays the groundwork, doesn't it? I mean, how many people come across this stream? Maybe they don't watch it, but they go, live aliens. You go, well, I just thought that was in films, Because a lot of people out there, they're not in camp aliens, and they're not in camp, bullshit either. They're just, I'm going to work. What you on about? Oh, yeah, that could be interesting. Right, I'm going to work now. They just doesn't enter their head. It's not in their day-to-day. And they're the people that kind of just need to be eased into it. But that's going to be, I think, the bulk of the middleware now. It's all about religion. So I don't think it is. I really, we hear it a lot, especially with the Collins Elite stuff in the US and stuff now. And I think that there will be religious pushback in a lot of different ways. Any dogmatically held belief, because I think there will be just as much existential distress in the dogmatic religious circles as there will be in the scientific as well. I reckon, because this is the thing, they rely religiously on science to go, well, science would have told me if this is, and you're telling me that there's something that is very well established and that the government has hidden. That will collapse a lot of people. So I don't think religion's anything special in it. I really don't. And I also think back to you think of the War of the Worlds when that came out. We've all heard the story, haven't we? That the radio play was, that people believed that was real at the time. Well, you'd only believe that was real if you believed aliens were real. And you go back to those days, the turn of the last century, well, not last century, one before now, 1800s to the 1900s then, they thought they were getting radio signals from Mars. They thought they could see the canals on the Martian surface from their Martian civilizations. That most mainstream people believed that there were Venetian and Martians neighbours. That they actively believed that, and that was a much more religious time. So and that only hit me recently. I just went, wait a minute, if that was true then, does that mean? Because I thought exactly the same thing, that all the religious structures they wouldn't want to handle it, or it wouldn't but it fitted back then, in a deeply more religious time. So I don't know. Most species on Earth have teeth and predators. That's the worrying thing. Alien life, it could be hostile. Well, this is the thing. We shouldn't assume that it isn't, because we are a complex life form, because we have had to evolve to be complex to survive, because there have been things to compete against, not just in the environment but other microbes. The reason that we have sexual reproduction is because of viruses. If we didn't have viruses, we would just, produce ourselves there. But we had to, do half and half of our genes and stuff like that, because of the risk of transmitting virus and genetic disease. So we had to evolve it. The only reason that we've got fingers, hands, we're not just a gelatinous blob which absorbs light, to eat. We had to become more complex to survive. So if we are seeing beings that are complex in a similar way, they would have had to have evolved on a very diverse ecosystem, which gave them similar evolutionary pressures to be as complex. And why would they be any less aggressive? We are aggressive because of those reasons as well. That's why it's in our nature. Now, the flip of that is that to have this sort of technology, maybe you have to sort a lot of your shit out socially to get to that level of development, and then to be able to sustain it and not kill each other with, because again, what you need for this technology like warp drive and stuff is you need a lot of energy, and a lot of energy can power your house, but it also goes boom, it's the same thing. So you have to maybe there is a point that if you are traveling across solar system, across the universe, you might have to be a little bit more chilled out. Maybe that is part of it there, but it's not obvious. It's a potential one. I remember that War of the Worlds thing there. It's funny. Were you there at the time? It was a long time ago, but I remember hearing about that as a kid. But it's a brilliant one. And Ben, what a nice surprise to see you still alive. Good evening, Ben. Actually, what is the time? Oh no, we've still got 5 minutes. Good catching you there. How's your weekend been? And thank you for feeding Alan there and the gifts. Appreciate it. All goes back into the stream. And there are the few scared ones that I've come across. Again, it might not be the majority. But it is easy. Oh, we found the images on Venus. Oh, we'll post them on the chat. Oh, no, hold on. I'm going into that now on A-Up. You can't tease me with this. Because I looked, I'm like, I can't see. Right, where are we? Oh, God, I've got so many messages. Sorry, guys. Let's have a look. Right. Oh, my God, there's a few of you guys joining the Discord tonight. And very, very welcome over there. Where are we? It's a few of you guys are there. Lex Lives, have a look. Producer A-Up here. Oh, wow. It's so haunting, isn't it, looking at Venus there? Crab people. Images most often claim to show live. Venera 13 Scorpion. Russian scientist argued in 2012 a feature in one sequence of the Venera 13 images resembled a scorpion or crab-like organism. He suggested it appeared to change position between frames. Oh, right, like which one's that? I mean, it's stunning to look at it, but where's the crab? I'm going to have to study these properly. Thank you, for that's pretty cool. Where did we get to? JC, how are you doing? Maybe they grew out of their aggression, which we still have not evolved past. Exactly. They may well do. And again, I think we're aggressive because we have differences. We have differences because we have a different experience of the world. And therefore the rules that apply to you and to me, but if they come at more of a cost to me than they do to you, well, I'm going to be unhappy about that. It's only until technology gets to the place where we manually level that playing field, so it's more of an equal, and that's literally what technology does. It equalizes the playing field. Then we have less things to complain about, and then again we'll be very similar people. And GWAC, how are you doing? Thank you for the gifts. The Vatican already are supposed to have stored material and evidence of life. Wasn't it the Vatican recently as well that they did last year? They did I think it was last year, it might be the year before, but they updated their guidance to all of their priests and stuff, saying, look, yeah, aliens, cool. It's not part of it. Doesn't break religion. It's all right, lads. So I mean, if they're bracing for impact, and especially the recent stuff now, it really does. Literally, the last few weeks, I think it's really felt like we are actually gearing up for something there. Why did they think that? Or what the Martian stuff? Oh no, they're broken plate crabs. It looks exactly the same as Mars landscape. They're just less red. It really does actually look very, very similar. But isn't it like meant to rain like acid and all sorts of horrible things there? And Ben, it'll be a busy weekend there, helping my friend and hoping I don't get too tired for a bit of gaming. Well, sometimes we have to. Being a good friend there, Ben. But it's good to see you. All still here hunting, so I guess I've not missed a great deal, unless it's all under wraps. It's just the come down now. It's the we've seen it all, JC. We got the big spike. They said hello. No, pareidolia is an issue when looking at some of the 100% there, 100%. And I've experienced not necessarily pareidolia, but having sightings outside. Looking at the night sky there. There is the part of you that goes, "Is that something? It looks weird." And then you look at it a bit too much and see things. So we have to be, we have to really understand how we work, how our minds work, how we process data, how we perceive things, so we can be clear if we do get the evidence there. And it has to be Apophis. I think that's the main threat right now, is it not? So that is the one that does sit at the back of my mind there. The aptly named Apophis there, comet. Hopefully, it's been responsible for a bit of spiciness in the past there. Oh, Night G-Wack, we're coming off anyway now. And if anyone hasn't read about the craziness from the Russian repeated Venus probes there, it's well worth a look at the conditions prevented a probe surveying more than a few minutes. Yeah, oh my God, it is literally hell, isn't it? It is insane, the pressures on Venus. But in the clouds, it is much more Earth-like, and that's where they may be getting those biosignatures from, which is pretty cool. Again, these three planets were all very similar. In fact, Venus is not only only 40% the distance that Mars is to Earth. It's much closer to us than Mars, but it is a hellhole, so we can't really visit. But it's 95% match to Earth, like 95% the size and mass. It's a much closer match than Mars. But three very similar bodies, very similar rocky bodies. They're just, the pressures are just insane. And they reckon there's probably nothing left of them, just with how acidic the air is on the surface. They're just crushed and crippled. The sounds from Venus as well are pretty strange. Anyway, guys, it's now midnight and I've got to go to work. But thank you guys for joining us once again. We will catch you all tomorrow for an alien radio signal hunt. No, actually, we might do something a little bit different before we do the normal stream tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be a Skywatch, but later on in the week is going to be a Skywatch there. So make sure you're subscribed, following, whatever it is, then you get the notifications when we go live. But yeah, we'll be on Monday night, not Tuesday night, but on Wednesday night. I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is looking like good for Skywatching. So yeah, we'll join you all, excuse me, tomorrow. Have a good start to your week, and thank you everybody for being awesome and hoping a flight is on time. Well, I'll have to keep us updated there, Well, I'll see if I can rope Leanne in. And who even says they need to be in our solar system with their tech and the way they move? And it's very possible. But that is, honestly, if they've got warp drive, that just, it doesn't matter. They could bugger off a few solar systems over if they really wanted to. How easy it becomes then. It really changes the game massively. But anyway, good shout. But I'll catch you later, guys, tomorrow. Thanks again for all your awesome support and keeping us company. We'll see you all tomorrow night. Bye-bye, guys.